Congress.
He refused to show up to testify about non-privileged questions.
Republicans Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, who are on the committee investigating the January Capitol riot, joined Democrats in the contempt vote. Meadows did provide texts and emails, then stopped cooperating, citing former President Trump's claim of executive privilege. GOP Congressman Jim Jordan says Democrats don't care about that.
They're going to forget about that because they think this is good politics.
The House also voted around midnight to join the Senate, raising the debt limit by about $2.5 trillion just before the U.S. would have defaulted on payments. Earlier on the Capitol steps, shall we gather? A candlelighting ceremony to mark the next COVID milestone, 800,000 deaths in the U.S. in the pandemic amid rising cases and worry about the new Omicron variant, leading to mask mandates indoors in New York and starting today, California. President Biden will go to tornado-torn-up Kentucky this morning. 74 of the 88 storm deaths were in that state, 100 people still unaccounted for.
Words can't express how I feel right now. The town is totally devastated.
He is in Mayfield, where a candle factory is under scrutiny. 8 people died when it got hit.
The state is now investigating those reports coming out of that candle factory that some workers were told if they left, they would be fired, even as the tornado sirens wailed. The state is now investigating. The company has denied those allegations.
Fox's Caroline Shively in San Francisco.
The reign of criminals who are destroying our city, it is time for it to come to an end.
Democratic Mayor London Breed, that rising crime includes smash and grab retail robberies. She wants more police funding and surveillance and to crack down on street sales of stolen goods. America's listening to Fox News.
Now, the stock market's at a record high again. Things are looking up. Houses are selling in a week. Interest rates are still crazy low. And to top it all off, the government printed $5 trillion in new money. You might have noticed that all of this doesn't add up. It's like those plates spinning on top of those sticks. When they stop, it all comes crashing down, right? You need to keep your cash safe, not crashing down. Using precious metals is a well-proven way to do this. In a gold or silver IRA 401k rollover, you even get tax breaks while you bomb-proof your money. To find out how you can do this, you need to talk to one of Noble Gold's representatives. They're patient and knowledgeable and can help you navigate the precious metals market. This month, Noble Gold is giving away a free America the Beautiful solid silver 5-ounce coin with any qualifying IRA that you start. Call 877-646-5347 now to find out more, or visit our website at noblegoldinvestments.com.
.939 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 6:03, and we are expecting a very warm day, very windy across mid-Missouri. We'll start with a forecast here in just a moment. 64 right now in Columbia. We're expecting partly sunny skies. Our high today, 75. Hard to believe, just about a week before Christmas. Showers tonight, and then that cold front moves in. Low near 39. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of only 52 degrees. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories we are working on for you at this hour. A former Mosher's employee who set the company's Fulton grocery store on fire has avoided prison time.
A Fulton woman pleads guilty to first-degree attempted arson after setting that fire at Mosher's in June. 48-year-old Pamela Cordray sentenced to 5 years on probation and will have to pay some $21,000. She intentionally set the fire in the basement of Mosher's on North Business 54 back on June 17th. Cordray was an employee and working at the time of the fire. John Marsh, 93.9, The Eagle.
Meantime, while our tornado threat is low today as well as tonight, the National Weather Service in Kansas City says that Jefferson City and Columbia can expect at this point 43-mile-per-hour wind gusts today. Now, that's a little bit down from where we were yesterday. We were at 45, so now expecting 43-mile-per-hour winds. The updated forecast timing's about the same. The National Weather Service Pleasant Hill meteorologist Brent Piesel says wind gusts in mid-Missouri will start this morning at about about 20 miles per hour. He says there is a marginal chance of severe weather tonight, primarily between 8 and 11 here in Columbia as well as Jefferson City. The NWS is urging you to slow down on the road, give extra room to truckers, especially on Interstate 70 today. President Biden will be traveling to tornado-damaged Mayfield, Kentucky a little bit later today, a town that took a direct hit in Friday's massive tornado. Columbia-based Missouri Task Force 1 has been in Mayfield since Monday. Boone County Fire Protection District Assistant Chief Gail Blumenkamp tells 93.9 The Eagle the task force has been checking every Mayfield structure for damage and for potential victims.
When we can go through and give a GPS location for every structure that we assess or every structure that should be there but may not, we can give that damage assessment to the locals when we leave.
He says that information is vital in moving communities toward recovery. The governor of Kentucky says the tornadoes have killed 74 in his state. That includes 12 children. A Columbia man charged with murder has been ordered to remain jailed without bond until his trial. Boone County Judge Tracy Gonzalez held a Tuesday hearing for 36-year-old Mark Achterberg, noting that Achterberg fled to Iowa after the November killing and had to be extradited back to Missouri. The judge telling Achterberg in open court, this is a direct quote, "No combination of monetary or non-monetary conditions will secure the safety of the community or other person," end of quote. There were two men who were sitting next to me in court. They pumped their fist in the air in support of the judge's decision. They apparently were relatives of the murder victim yesterday. Achterberg is charged with first-degree murder for the shooting death of Justin Stidham just north of Columbia. He was later captured by authorities in Creston, Iowa. Officials from Columbia Public Schools say the district's contact tracing and quarantine protocols will be changing in January. We'll learn details about those changes before January the 4th. And the Commerce Bank one-for-one food drive, sponsored by Zimmer Radio Group, is underway at this hour at both Columbia Mall and Jefferson City's Orshwin. 93.9 The Eagles' Andy Humphrey will have live reports on Wake Up Columbia this morning. From Columbia Mall, the one-for-one food drive raises money and collects food to help our neighbors in need across 32 counties. A $25 donation can provide at least 100 meals. The food bank especially in need of canned meat and canned fruits and vegetables. If you have those, they definitely need those for the needy around Christmas time. 93.9 The Eagle News is brought to you on this Wednesday morning by AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning. For all your heating needs, log on to airserve.com. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 6:07. In sports, Mizzou football is ready for signing day today. It's the first official day they can sign recruits. Tiger coach Eli Drinkwitz plans a 2 o'clock press conference in Columbia. He'll be in the south end zone briefing reporters, discussing recruiting efforts. ABC 17's Andrew Kaufman says Coach Drinkwitz will also have press briefings in Kansas City and the St. Louis areas this afternoon. 1 at 5, 1 at 6:30. 5 in Kansas City, 1 at 6:30. So Coach Drinkwitz hitting the Show Me State very hard right now. St. Louis Blues beat the Stars last night in Dallas by a score of 4-1. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 6:08. All right, Kevin, thanks so much. And again, the updated forecast from Kevin, and I've also talked to the National Weather Service. We are in a slight, which is basically the marginal risk of severe weather. Certainly keep your radio tuned here to 93.9 The Eagle. Weather brought to you by Club Car Wash. It is 64 degrees.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
At 6:08, traffic check, MidmoHires.com. Local companies looking for local people. MidmoHires.com. Find a job, post your job opening today. Roads right now quiet in mid-Missouri. If you want to report a traffic issue, call or text us 573-874-9390. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes, and we have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
People saying the mud is coming and we're scared. I called one lady and she was in a panic trying to get her and her animals out of the house as soon as possible.
A large wildfire that injured 5 people, destroyed around 1,000 homes and buildings, and forced tens of thousands of people to flee communities in the Lake Tahoe area.
So this is what we believe will be the longest tornado in U.S. history on the ground consecutively, at least 227 miles, but 200 of those were in Kentucky.
Basically a river of mud flowing behind these people's houses. The OC sheriff called for a mandatory evacuation order for the Silverado Canyon area. He sent out a tweet saying leave now, especially people with disabilities and residents with large animals. So some people left, some people decided to stay.
Man, when you put it all like that, all together, sounds like we're screwed, doesn't it? Fires, floods, tornadoes. Welcome into the show. How do you feel this morning?
I'm ready for Friday. It's a little bit dark this morning.
Listen, things are good. You're going to make your mortgage payment at the end of the month. It's going to be warm today. As a matter of fact, really, I think our big story locally today, a couple of things. We have our 1-for-1 holiday food drive, but weather, and it's not necessarily like weather of tornadic activity or snow, but something we're just not accustomed to on December the 15th. 2 big things we're dealing with today.
Yeah, and really it's primarily the wind. Brandon, you're absolutely right. I mean, it all boils down to the fact it's 65 degrees at 6 in the morning here in mid-December, but the National Weather Service is really focusing right now on the high wind. Now, we do have a possibility of severe weather tonight. It's a low threat right now, but we'll still keep on top of that. If it does happen, it'll be between 8 and 11. But the bigger thing is going to be on the road right now. Now, the temperature, the wind speed that they're talking about potentially for Columbia and Jefferson City. I know Kevin's mentioned 50, and we could see that. Right now, the number I've gotten from the Weather Service has gone down from 45 to 43. Regardless, that's quite a bit. But if you go up into the St. Joseph area, into Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, you're looking at 60, 65-mile-an-hour winds they're looking at today. So they're really urging people to be careful, especially on the interstate.
So do we know what's going to be causing this wind event today?
It's really just the system that's in. Again, without being a meteorologist, and I didn't get into the specifics on what was causing it, but I did talk to them in detail.
Well, it's going to be windy, especially here in this area in Missouri today. It's because Illinois sucks and Kansas blows. So that's... Welcome into the show. That's your big story today is the weather. And it's going to be warm, hot.
Oh, yeah.
Really, 75.
I can't tell you how many of my friends have told me, yeah, I'm going golfing today. And I'm like, isn't it December? And then you realize how many 60 and 70-degree days have we had?
I would really, our 1-for-1 holiday food drive with Commerce Bank, I want to show up in flip-flops and shorts today. How cool would that be?
Well, we'll be glad you're not barefoot.
As a matter of fact, let's check in Andy Humphrey, 93.9 The Eagle, on location already this morning. 1-for-1 holiday food drive with Andy Humphrey. What can we do to help this morning, sir? All right. So run by, see Andy Humphrey there at the mall. He's the one with an umbrella a la Jim Cantor from the Weather Channel. We're out there all day. He's going to be checking in. Different ways that you can help this morning. One of the things I love about our 1-for-1 holiday food drive with Commerce Bank, you know, a lot of these local folks come together, and I get especially excited to see some of the newer folks like Aurora Organic Dairy. They've only been in town for a few years, and they're becoming involved. Obviously, we know about people like Shelter Insurance, Zimmer Radio Group, Veterans United, people like Aurora Organic Dairy, Fisher Auto Body Shop, Atterbury Auction. Some of the folks helping us out today. So windy and warm. What we're expecting today. There's Mr. Brian Hauswirth. Welcome into the show.
Good morning.
Man.
Good morning to you. Good morning to Stephanie, and good morning to Hannah.
All right, Stephanie. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
And Hannah. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
My name is Branden. Rathert. Anything we can do for you? 874-9390. 874-9390. Yesterday, I hope we did not leave the wrong impression. We got into a story. St. Louis Mayor Tishaura Jones used to serve in Jefferson City as an elected lawmaker. Mm-hmm. She wants to do away with this ordinance in St. Louis that decriminalizes certain amounts of marijuana. And I think I agree with the mayor on that. But we got to wonder, because none of us here on the show know, it was like 35 grams or less. So, like, if you're going around with weed, does that mean you're always carrying around 34.5 grams so you don't get in trouble? And how do you know? But I bring it up, Missouri State Highway Patrol, man, they busted somebody on I-70 in Boone County.
Right.
60 pounds of weed. Is that more than 35 grams?
That would be more that would be more to say the least.
Just checking.
Yeah, and I've not used his name yet because he has not been charged. He has not been charged. He's been arrested, but we'll be careful on that. But yeah, I did see the story, and they do have a picture. That's quite a bit of there's a picture of the amount of drugs, and I believe a dog was involved too. They brought in a dog to the highway patrol dog there.
And so this thing with the mayor is what they're saying in St. Louis. Listen, 35 milligrams or grams, whatever it is, let's leave it be. And then another case emerging as it relates to marijuana is an officer can say, I smell weed. That's enough for me to search. And there's more and more places that are saying, you know what, maybe that's not such a good idea anymore. For a couple of reasons. I mean, you know it when you smell it, right? It's like some people have said, what does weed smell like? I don't know how to explain it. Sometimes it can smell like somebody's run over a skunk.
It's skunky.
It's skunky. But the only other way that I've known over the years to explain what it smells like to somebody, you'll know it when you smell it. Does that sound reasonable enough? So we've all smelled, we know what it smells like, but the issue is with law enforcement is that they could say, hey, we smell weed. We're now searching your vehicle. And there's another emerging issue, and it's with specifically these dogs. Something that's been happening for a while, something I was really into about 15 years ago, because you could take a dog, and if it's outside the car and a dog stops and says, hey, I've got a hit here, rear quarter panel, people have tried to argue, that dog's outside of my car. That's not going to work. I don't know that any courts have really taken it up to the point that have said, no, but I just thought it was interesting. And it shows you the value of our canine officers.
I was comparing, remember how there was a huge marijuana bust in Colombia not too long ago?
Yeah.
That was 72 pounds of marijuana, so I think this was 50.
Okay.
I still don't know, is that a whole trunk full? Is your whole trunk full of marijuana?
I don't know, but it's more.
Not this again.
60 pounds, but Brian, you can confirm 60 pounds is more than 35 grams.
Less.
60 pounds is more.
Oh, sorry, more, yes.
It would appear to me, just looking at that picture, again, that the camera's easy.
Something we can do for you, 874-9390, 874-9390. Tom says so we asked Hauswirth. I love Hauswirth, by the way. How cool is it? I mean, I've loved everybody who's been a member of the Wake Up Columbia family. Brian Hauswirth, I love this guy because he is, and I'll tell you why, not just personally, but man, when it comes to, you heard him saying that exchange there, we're talking about this dude who got busted out on I-70 with 60 pounds of marijuana. Dude's from Colombia, not been charged. He was just arrested. And you even heard Brian say, but no, we're not going to do, I'm not using his name because he hasn't been charged, just arrested. That's a good journalist, man. And that is in everything Brian Hauswirth does. And I also love him because you ask him a question. Is 60 pounds, is that more than 35 grams? And his take on it is just, it's beautiful. I love it. All right, coming up, Daily DC Rundown. What's underneath the circus tent this morning, Steph?
You know, COVID brought on a lot of gravy trains, right?
Yeah.
One is about to end.
All right, gravy train coming to
Catch Wake Up Columbia on demand anytime, all the time at 9390eagle.com.
Since the summer, many families have been receiving monthly payments of up to $300 per child, and lower earners got the child tax credit regardless of their income.
I didn't take advantage of it, but man, wasn't that awesome? That's getting us into today's Daily DZ Rundown with Stephanie Bell on 93.9 The Eagle.
I can't hardly believe it, but those checks are going to stop. It seems like we've just been giving out more and more money and finding a way to do that. But the last checks will go out Wednesday unless Congress revives it. It doesn't look likely that Congress is going to do that at this time. So if you were counting on that $300, know that it is going away because Congress is really busy doing a whole bunch of other stuff. They've held Mark Meadows in contempt for ceasing to cooperate. It was a near party line vote of 222 to 208. And this is following them doing the same about Steve Bannon, but they have officially voted, and that January 6th, do we call it a committee? The January 6th investigation.
Lynch mob.
There we go. It's still going.
It's a lynch mob. Mark Meadows saying, listen, I have cooperated. I've given them stuff they asked for. I'm not going there. Okay, if you want to get me on that, that's fine, but I have cooperated.
He's like, Liz, you were reading my text.
What more do you want, man?
What's going on? Yeah, so they voted on that. They also voted on the debt ceiling. I thought we did this already. Haven't we done this? I feel like we are talking about this a lot.
Deja vu all over again.
Well, they voted on the debt ceiling to raise it, not surprisingly. And that drew only one Republican vote in the House. That was Adam Kinzinger. Interestingly enough, Mitch McConnell is taking a lot of flack. If you recall, they kind of switched up the rules on this. And typically it would require more than a majority vote, but they put this provision in, I think it was a Medicare bill, that allowed them to pass it with just a simple majority. But for all the criticism that Mitch McConnell gets, I really think a lot of people are playing checkers and he's playing chess a lot of times. And I think here what he was saying was, look, we made them take a difficult vote. They voted to raise the debt ceiling. We're going to be able to, basically you're going to see that in attack ads. He didn't say that, but that's the implication there. And so, we're giving them, a little bit, but we're gaining back, some political firepower on this vote. But people are still pretty frustrated with Mitch McConnell.
I think Mitch, and I hate to say it, but it's true, and it does happen. It has sometimes in politics, your appearance and how you carry yourself. Mitch can be an easy target because you're always talking like he's got cake in his mouth and you don't ever know. So even though you might agree with what he's saying or you don't agree, it's just easier to go after him because he's got this. There's a certain presence, and that stuff matters sometimes. I hate to say it, but it matters sometimes.
I can't get over the fact that he kind of looks like a turtle. But anyway, Biden also today. So Congress is handling that stuff. Biden is headed to Kentucky. This will actually be his 5th time since taking office. You played your montage at the top of the show about all of the natural disasters and things happening. This is Biden's 5th time visiting, an area that's had a major disaster. He will be offering comfort, I guess, as much as he can. He tends to have a lot of gaffes in these very serious situations where he's trying to console people. But he will be there offering his thoughts.
You know what would be cool, Liz Cheney? She was reading all those texts the other day.
He's got to condemn this ASAP. The Capitol Police tweet is not enough.
There she was sharing a text from Trump Jr. talking about his dad, because Trump Jr. was texting Mark, dude, tell Dad he's got to do something here. And so Liz Cheney's...
I really am interested at the timing of these tweets. Are the people already inside the Capitol and these texts are coming through?
Don't know. I do know this. I would love to have Liz Cheney narrate, since she's so good at narrating text.
Urging action by the president. Quote, we need...
Can you imagine her sitting by a fire and reading 'Twas the Night Before Christmas? Nobody would tune in to see that. Welcome into the show today. A couple of big things really happening here. Number one is the weather. Number one, it's going to be sunny, high of 75. Take that. But we have a wind advisory in effect. We're talking potentially later this afternoon. So probably after lunch, maybe before you get off work, kind of in that time frame. Winds potentially up to 50 miles an hour. Now, the big issue is going to be out on I-70, especially when you get out on some of those open spaces. So that's something that we are keeping an eye on for you this morning. The other thing that we are watching, one for one, a holiday food drive with Commerce Bank 93.9 The Eagles. Andy Humphrey is out there. We're going to check in with him. Ways that you can help, and we have a whole bunch of texts. So we're wondering about this dude busted on I-70, arrested for, not charged yet, 60 pounds of marijuana. We got to wondering, in light of the mayor of St. Louis, her idea to do away with criminalizing marijuana under 35 grams. We're wondering, is 60 pounds, is that more than 35 grams? It is, apparently.
Pretty sure.
People on the text are letting us know. We'll share some of those coming up at 6:35 here on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com.
Weather checks brought to you by Club Car Wash. Stop by Club Car Wash today to get an unlimited membership for just $20 a month. See more details at clubcarwash.com.
Fox News, I'm Lillian Wu. A top aide of former President Trump is held in contempt by the House.
It was a near party line vote, with Democrats overruling Republican objections to hold former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows in contempt of Congress. The case now goes to the Justice Department, where they'll decide if Meadows should be prosecuted after he stopped cooperating with the committee looking into the Capitol Hill riot.
Fox's Jill Nato. The ex-Minneapolis police officer convicted in George Floyd's death is expected in court today to plead guilty to violating his rights.
Derek Chauvin, already serving a 22-and-a-half-year sentence on murder and manslaughter, plans to make the plea change in federal court for pressing his knee on Floyd's neck until he lost consciousness during a 2020 arrest.
Fox's Gernal Scott. America's listening to Fox News.
.939 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. Good morning, everyone. Our time is 6:31. We are expecting a warm day here in mid-Missouri. It's already 65 degrees here in Columbia, 63 in Jefferson City. Sunshine, today's high 75. Showers tonight, low near 39. And the outlook for tomorrow, sunny and a high of 52. So we've got a cold front moving in. Strong winds today. We'll touch more on that here in just a moment. Good morning, everyone, and here's some of the stories we are working on at this hour. Members of Columbia-based Task Force 1 are conducting damage assessments on every structure right now in tornado-damaged Mayfield, Kentucky. That's 60 miles east of Sikeston, Missouri. Boone County Fire Protection District Assistant Chief Gail Blumenkamp tells 93.9 The Eagle that Task Force 1 has completed more than 1,000 structural assessments.
You know, our crews are going through that town. They're seeing everything from total destruction to structures that have no damage at all.
President Joe Biden will be traveling to Mayfield today to survey the tornado damage. Senator Mitch McConnell expected to be there as well. Again, that's not far from the boot heel, about 60 miles east of Sikeston in terms of land. They'll take you longer there by car. Louisville Courier-Journal reporting 8 people died when the tornado struck the Mayfield candle factory. Closer to home, the National Weather Service in Kansas City forecasting high winds across western and mid-Missouri today. 43-mile-per-hour wind gusts expected in Columbia and Jefferson City. NWS meteorologist Brent Piesel tells 93.9 The Eagle that Columbia and Jefferson City have a marginal chance of severe weather tonight. A Columbia man charged with killing a man in Boone County remains jailed without bond this morning. He is 36-year-old Mark Achterberg. He is charged with first-degree murder for the November shooting death of Justin Stidham. He appeared in Boone County Circuit Court via video on Tuesday. Judge Tracy Gonzalez rejected bond attempts, citing his murder charge and also his record of convictions dating to 2004 and the fact that he had to be extradited back to Missouri from Iowa. And you have an opportunity today to help feed hungry neighbors and friends here in mid and northeast Missouri. The Commerce Bank 1-for-1 food drive at Columbia Mall is underway at this hour. It's sponsored by Zimmer Radio Group. You've heard Andy Humphrey already live this morning. He'll be out live all morning on Wake Up Columbia. Proceeds go to the Food Bank for Central and Northeast Missouri. They use all of that money for food. The Food Bank for Central and Northeast Missouri serves about 100,000 people each month. They really need canned goods, canned food, meat, as well as canned fruits and vegetables, if at all possible. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 6:34. In sports, we're really talking quite a bit the last couple of days about high school and really, for that matter, college football. We're going to start in Boonville. All eyes locally on a great player in Boonville. His name is DJ Wesolak. He's going to announce his college football decision at 3:30. Boonville Knights of Columbus Hall. Andrew Kaufman reporting that DJ told him he's narrowed his list to 5 schools. Mizzou is on that list. The others, Alabama, Georgia, LSU, USC. We'll find out at 3:30 today. As for Mizzou, they're getting ready for signing day today. It's the first official day they can sign recruits. Coach Trinkwitz plans a 2 o'clock press conference here in Columbia. He'll be discussing recruiting efforts. He'll brief reporters at Faurot Field here in Columbia. Hockey, the Blues over the Dallas Stars last night, 4-1. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 6:35.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
And our traffic check is with MidmoHires.com. Local companies looking for local people. If you're out on I-70, I definitely am aware of there's a man who has been seen near I-70 and 63, apparently walking in traffic. Heard that just a few minutes before I went on the air, so authorities were responding to there. Just slow down and turn your brights on if at all possible. But a man apparently was walking out on I-70 near 70 and 63. No injuries to report, but authorities responding to that area. If you want to report a traffic issue, call or text us 573-874-9390. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes, so we have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
We haven't even buried our dead yet, and networks like CNN, where frankly they're just fundamentally dishonest people, are saying things that are untrue. But you know, you watch CNN and you have people who basically all they care about is attack, attack, attack. You know, like I say, we're still trying to bury our dead, and CNN's busy fighting some kind of left-wing partisan war.
Rand Paul yesterday on Fox because CNN distorting comments that he's made about disaster relief, whether it be hurricanes or like he's seeing in his state in Kentucky, like we're seeing in Missouri, Illinois, Arkansas, and Tennessee. And he's like, this is just crazy what it is they're saying. We're still trying to clean up from this disaster, and CNN is out there. They're taking pot shots at me, man. Let's deal with the reality of what's happening here. But he's highlighting this is what CNN does. Of course, he said this on the network that you would have thought the burning of that Fox Christmas tree was the second coming of Jesus Christ. My goodness. I had people, we had a Christmas event the other night for Zimmer Radio Group. I had more people coming up to me, and I don't watch a lot of Fox TV. I'll flip through all the cable news outlets, see who's doing what. But I even got, because we have a bank of TVs in the studio so we could see on Fox, the way they covered whoever, and it was some homeless dude who burned their Christmas tree. And you know Fox loves that war on Christmas. Man, they love this tree being set on fire at their headquarters. I mean, they went, and I get it. Somebody sets a tree on fire. It's a pretty cruddy thing. Some homeless dude who's got some other health issues. But Fox went all out. This is an attack on our conservative. No, it's a homeless dude who's got mental issues, and you leave it at that. But, man, they went overboard. As a matter of fact, they did like a rededication. They brought in a new tree, and it wasn't actually a tree. I think it was like metal and aluminum, something like that. Then while they're dedicating the second tree,
they tried to extinguish the darkness at a place called Pearl Harbor. We didn't fold then, and we won't fold now because
the pastor is comparing the burning down of a Christmas tree in New York City in front of a news organization. He compared it to Pearl Harbor. Jeez. Welcome into the show. Wake Up Columbia. There's Stephanie Bell, Brian Hauswirth, and the producer. My name is Branden. Rathert. More bad news for Andrew Cuomo. We have that, but more good news for us here in Missouri. It is our annual 1-for-1 holiday food drive with Commerce Bank happening at the mall. Andy Humphrey is there now. All kinds of different ways we can help this morning. All right, Andy Humphrey is hanging out. Annual 1-for-1 holiday food drive. Thank you, bud. Be out there all day. As a matter of fact, Hauswirth, what time are you going to be out there?
10 to 2, and looking forward to that. And Andy did a great job with those numbers. But, Branden, we had a chance, you and I, to take a tour of that facility a couple of weeks ago, and just the need is so great. A lot of the people that were there, I heard them talk about it. They had never needed help before, but they do now. A lot of children.
Yeah, there's kids, and it's somebody that just for one reason or another, as a matter of fact, we had a listener, Ray, texted us yesterday. Ray lives in Montgomery City area. One of his neighbors had a house fire, and fire department said too many all the Christmas lights blew it out. Anyhow, so they're without a home. And by the way, it burned all their food. Where'd they go? They go to the food bank. And that's the kind of people that utilize this. That's who you're helping whenever you donate during our 1-for-1 holiday food drive with Commerce Bank going on all day. And then Stephanie and I are out there later this afternoon. Hannah's going to be hanging out at our location in Jefferson City. What time are you going to be out there today, Hannah?
Well, I will be helping out in the studio behind the scenes from 2 to 6.
So bust into the Jefferson City headquarters of Zimmer Radio. Say hello to Hannah there.
I am the love gov. I'm a cool dude in a loose mood. I just say let it go. Just go with the flow, baby,
I wonder how it feels.
Gross.
I know, right? I wonder how that feels now. That's former governor of New York. That's awfully arrogant and pompous.
I am the love gov. I'm a cool dude in a loose mood. I just say let it go. Just go with the flow, baby,
Well, now you don't have an income. You're out of a job. You're disgraced, and your brother is not doing much better either. And now any money you made from a book, state of New York says, hey, man, why don't you give that to us? You did it on taxpayers' backs. You did it while you were governor. You utilized staff to help you write that book.
Yeah, and you can't use your office for personal gain, right? And I mean, I think that's exactly what he was.
Yeah, and he wrote it, and I don't know how the book ever came out, but I know he was writing it like he was a superhero. Like he just really thought he was doing a bang-up job over the past years. I wonder, kind of a different thing, but sometimes somebody, high-profile criminal cases, they go to prison, they end up writing a book, and I don't know, but in some states, and I'm asking rhetorically here, they've tried to enact laws that have said, hey, if you've committed a crime, you can't profit. Like, you can't write a book and make money off of that. And I think you should be able to. It's dastardly that people, I think, might want to buy your book. But I think, hey, if you want to write a book or you want to sell lockets of your hair while you're in prison and people want to buy it, you should absolutely be able to do that. But any money you make should first go to any victims if there's restitution involved in a case.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. So, because this book was like kind of written in the heat of it all, right? I mean, we had a disgraced governor who had a book, but his book was like written before all of that went down, right? But I will tell you, that was I went to a gift exchange where you exchange white elephant gifts.
Yeah.
And I guess a lot of people in government got that book when he first got elected. And this was following the resignation in the same year. And I went to a white elephant party and I opened up a copy of his book. And everyone was cracking up. I think I still have it, actually. I'm saving it for another white elephant party, I think.
So, Hannah, when you get your white elephant, you know what you're getting from Stephanie. Coming up before 7 o'clock, we have your Dome Tub today. Dumb people are in the news doing some dumb things. And also, we didn't get to do this, but Massachusetts has a new U.S. attorney. Somebody, Joe Biden, he had nominated them. Even her nomination, because she'd been in some trouble. She's kind of skirted a couple issues with the law and, like, threatening people. She's a U.S. attorney. She's on tape threatening people.
Branden Rathert and Wake Up Columbia. Drinking upstream from the herd. 93.9 The Eagle.
If you connect a thriving economy with a thriving community and understand that our small business leaders are also civic leaders, they are also community leaders, and what we did with the PPP program, and also what
we ain't done nothing on that PPP program, Kamala. That was the administration before you. We ain't done nothing unless unless you meant like we as a government,
we as a country for our people.
I get the impression, of course I could be biased, but I get the impression that she's saying like we, like me and Joe.
If you connect a thriving economy with a thriving community and understand that our small business leaders are also civic leaders, they are also community leaders, and what we did with the PPP program, and also what we did to recognize how
Oh, yeah, she's totally taking credit for that.
That's what I thought. We ain't done nothing. Welcome into the show. This is Wake Up Columbia. I am Branden Rathert, Fox News, coming up here, 7 o'clock. Former Trump aide, it's Mark Meadows. He's given this lynch mob that consists of 9 people. He's given them all this stuff. Hell, he had Liz Cheney narrating texts from Fox television host to him the other day, and he's saying, what do you want me to... I've given you everything. And then I wonder, too, and I go back, okay, so what is your end game? All of those people that went to on that day of January the 6th, you cannot say, there's a lot of things you can say. We know the text where other people say, hey, Trump, maybe you could do something to quell us. But you cannot, no matter what comes out, you cannot say that Trump or whoever else is responsible for their actions. If Hannah goes out and robs the break time up here because I told her to do it, I'm not responsible for that.
Yeah, well, and I think the texts actually, if you are really interesting because I think after January 6th, the Democrats like to lump every Trump supporter in with the people who were doing the actions on January 6th and just attributing that to Trump supporters. And what we see from the text is most of the inside Trump people and the insiders were texting, Trump or texting Meadows saying, this is crazy. Like, who are these people? Like, these people got to get out. You got to, dial this down. And, they weren't in any way really, you see the divide between the establishment conservative Trump people and whoever the people were in the Capitol, right? And so I think that's what I took away from the text.
I was very ardent Trump supporter. I'm still a fan of his ideas and what he was able to do. Wished he had more help, but didn't get a whole lot of help of media, for example. But I don't come to work wearing a coonskin hat painted red and blue. I don't dress like that. But obviously, as what the national news outlets tried to do following the events of January 6th, to try Trump supporters, and they picked, and I get everybody does it. They picked like the dude with the coonskin hat and all these weird people trying to make that narrative that, hey, these are the people that support Trump, and that's not true. It's very intelligent people. It's conservative people that believe in America. It's not, and it doesn't matter how they look anyway, but that's what they tried to paint on us. Coming up, so we have that going on with Mark Meadows, and Fox News is going to cover more of this. And the other thing that's happened is this the movement of this Omicron variant, which everything right now that I've seen, people are saying it's contagious, but it's not that strong. And here's the thing I despise, and it happens so now everybody's they've got like this clock ticking for when we get to 800,000 people that have died. Like some morbid scoreboard. 800,000 people. There's 330,890,000 people in America. So you know what that tells me? 300,800,000 people haven't died from this. And you couldn't even translate that into local numbers. Now, you look in Boone County. We've got, 180,000 people in Boone County, and we've had a couple hundred deaths. Well, guess what? That means 178,800 people haven't died from it.
Yeah, I mean, it is morbid and it's sad. And especially, I mean, if you had someone in your family who died from COVID, but had they died from any reason, had they died from the flu, it would be sad, right? And so, I've seen, if we stamped the number in a typical year of the flu cases and deaths from flu on the front page of the newspaper, people would be freaked out. Those numbers are high typically. And a lot of people, end up dying from the flu every year. And we don't treat it the same way that we've treated this.
Cole County. Population 70, if we're getting exact, 77,279 folks live in Cole County. 233 have died. So that means 77,200 and whatever the math is haven't died from it. It's morbid and grotesque that they want to keep track. Like we're at Madison Square Garden and there's this big jumbotron scoreboard, or we're at Arrowhead Stadium and in between quarters everybody's looking at that. When are we hitting 800,000?
Well, and I think that's going to persuade. They think that's going to persuade people into submission, right? And that's not really what that's not it at all. It's because our family members and our loved ones who have been affected by COVID aren't just a number. And the people who have been persuaded to get the vaccine based on COVID deaths, it's not the 800,000 number. It's people like you who had someone close to them who got really sick, who ended up in the hospital, and then you think, okay, I could end up like them. It's not this number. It's people we actually know.
Yeah. I don't. It's like, well, hundreds of thousands of people die every year from heart disease. Well, you know what? I'm going to start eating better and I'm going to exercise more. It's just I find it silly. The other big thing going on today, it's our 1-for-1 holiday food drive. Andy Humphrey's at the mall right now, so we're kind of like by Dillard's and Wendy's there. She's going down Stadium. He's out there. You can help with our 1-for-1 holiday food drive with Commerce Bank. As a matter of fact, Stephanie and I will be out there this afternoon from like 3 to 6. All right, so problems facing a former Trump aide. Fox has that. Coming up at 7 o'clock, Brian Hauswirth is here. 2 different weather things we're paying attention to today. Number one, this is going to be hot. Potentially record temps today. The wind, how might this affect you? He has that coming up at 7:03.
President Biden will get a bird's eye view. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. This morning you'll go to Kentucky where there are a lot of tornado victims who lost everything, including loved ones.
You're still kind of in the state of how do we even start? Where do we go from here?
Fox's Evan Brown has more live.
Dave, President Biden will leave the White House next hour for a flight to Kentucky, first to Fort Campbell, and then on to both the towns of Mayfield and Dawson Springs, where he'll take both aerial and ground tours of devastated neighborhoods and business districts. He'll also get a few moments to speak with local leaders and residents, get an operational briefing, and is also expected to make some remarks to the press this afternoon. The president has already signed a major disaster declaration, which directs money to pay for temporary housing and repairs, Dave.
There have been 74 of the 88 tornado deaths were in Kentucky. The House voted around midnight to join the Senate, raising the debt limit ahead of a deadline when the U.S. would default on payments. The House has voted to hold Mark Meadows in contempt of Congress because the ex-Trump White House chief of staff stopped cooperating with the committee investigating the January Capitol riot, referring a criminal case to the Justice Department. All but 2 Republicans voted against that. Congressman Jim Banks says
it's all about burying their political opponents.
Outside the Capitol, lawmakers held a candlelighting to mark 800,000 COVID deaths across America. Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, famous for his early daily COVID briefings, ordered to give back millions of dollars he made off the book the Democrat wrote about his COVID leadership.
Now, Cuomo's spokesperson says the move is political hypocrisy and duplicity at its worst. But in a 12-1 vote, the state ethics panel ruled Cuomo, quote, lacked the legal authority to engage in outside activity and receive compensation in regard to the book. The panel saying Cuomo violated a pledge that he would write the book on his own time without using any state resources or government staff.
That's Fox's Brooks Singman. America's listening to Fox News.
Now, the stock market's at a record high again. Things are looking up. Houses are selling in a week. Interest rates are still crazy low. And to top it all off, the government printed $5 trillion in new money. You might have noticed that all of this doesn't add up. It's like those plates spinning on top of those sticks. When they stop, it all comes crashing down, right? You need to keep your cash safe, not crashing down. Using precious metals is a well-proven way to do this. In a gold or silver IRA 401k rollover, you even get tax breaks while you bomb-proof your money. To find out how you can do this, you need to talk to one of Noble Gold's representatives. They're patient and knowledgeable and can help you navigate the precious metals market. This month, Noble Gold is giving away a free America the Beautiful solid silver 5-ounce coin with any qualifying IRA that you start. Call 877-646-5347 now to find out more or visit our website at noblegoldinvestments.com.
.939 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 7:03, 65 right now in Columbia. Very warm day for mid-December. We're expecting a high again of 75. Sunshine today, and then the cold front moves in after that. Showers tonight, low near 39. Tomorrow it'll be sunny and a high of 52 degrees. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories we are working on for you at this hour. While our tornado threat is low today here in mid-Missouri, as well as tonight, the National Weather Service says Columbia and Jefferson City can expect 43-mile-per-hour wind gusts this afternoon into this evening. National Weather Service Pleasant Hill meteorologist Brent Piesel says wind gusts in mid-Missouri will be starting this morning at about 20 miles per hour. He says there is a marginal chance of severe weather tonight. If it does happen, it'll be primarily between 8 and 11, but it looks like the severe weather threat will be well to our north in the Iowa, Nebraska areas. National Weather Service urging you to slow down on the road and also to give extra room to truckers. We'll have a complete forecast from meteorologist Kevin Schneider here in a few moments. Meantime, a Columbia man charged with murder has been ordered to remain jailed without bond until his trial. Boone County Judge Tracy Gonzalez holding a Tuesday hearing for 36-year-old Mark Achterberg. She notes Achterberg fled to Iowa after the November killing and had to be extradited back to Missouri. Judge Gonzalez told Achterberg in open court that, quote, no combination of monetary or non-monetary conditions will secure the safety of the community or other person, end of quote. That includes potential witnesses and crime victims. Achterberg is charged with first-degree murder for the shooting death of Justin Stidham just north of Columbia. He was appeared via video from the Boone County Jail wearing a jail jumpsuit. He also had a mask on. A former Mosher's employee who set the company's Fulton grocery store on fire avoids prison time.
A Fulton woman
woman pleads guilty to first-degree attempted arson after setting that fire at Moser's in June. 48-year-old Pamela Cordray sentenced to 5 years on probation and will have to pay some $21,000. She intentionally set the fire in the basement of Moser's on North Business 54 back on June 17th. Cordray was an employee and working at the time of the fire. John Marsh, 93.9, The Eagle.
President Biden on his way this morning to the state of Kentucky. He'll be visiting Fort Campbell first and then eventually going to tornado-damaged Mayfield today. Mayfield, a town that took a direct hit from Friday's massive tornado that hit a number of states. Columbia-based Missouri Task Force 1 has been in Mayfield since early Monday. Boone County Fire Protection District Assistant Chief Gail Blumenkamp tells 93.9 The Eagle the task force is checking every Mayfield structure for damage and for potential victims.
When we can go through and give a GPS location for every structure that we assess or every structure that should be there but may not, we can give that damage assessment to the locals when we leave.
Kentucky's governor says the tornadoes have killed 74 in his state. Officials from CPS say the district's contact tracing and quarantine protocols will change in January. We'll learn details about those changes before January 4th, according to CPS's Michelle Baumstark. And the Commerce Bank one-for-one food drive, sponsored by Zimmer Radio Group, underway at this hour at both Columbia Mall and Jefferson City's Ursuline. Our colleague, 93.9 The Eagle's Andy Humphrey, having live reports on Wake Up Columbia all morning from the mall. One-for-one food drive raises money, collects food for our neighbors in need across 32 counties. $25 donation can provide at least 100 meals. Go by and see Andy this morning. He is near the Wendy's out in the parking lot, Columbia Mall. Our news brought to you this morning live by the Candy Factory. The Candy Factory is in downtown Columbia. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 7:07. In sports, the Blues beat the Dallas Stars last night 4-1. Mizzou football is getting ready for signing day today. It's the first official day they can actually sign recruits. Tiger coach Eli Drinkwitz will have a 2 o'clock press conference here in Columbia. He'll be discussing recruiting efforts at that time. The Andy Humphrey and the colleagues from the Big Show will have more on this on KTGR this afternoon. And all eyes right now on a number of players across the state, but especially in Boonville. Standout DJ Wesolak will announce his college football decision at 3:30 today at the Boonville Knights of Columbus Hall. He tells ABC 17's Andrew Kaufman he has narrowed his list to 5 schools. Mizzou is on that list. The other schools, no particular order here: LSU, Georgia, Alabama, USC, Penn State, North Carolina, Oregon were on that list earlier. But again, the final 5 in no particular order: Mizzou, LSU, Georgia, Alabama, and USC. 93.9 The Eagle Sports is brought to you this hour by Club Car Wash, clubcarwash.com. It's 7:08. All right, Kevin, thanks so much. Our weather is brought to you this hour by Club Car Wash, clubcarwash.com. Find a location near you. 65 degrees.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
At 7:08, our traffic check is with, with MidmoHires.com. Local companies looking for local people. Roads right now pretty good in mid-Missouri. If you want to report a traffic issue, call or text us 573-874-9390. We'll have more team coverage in less than 30 minutes and breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
people saying the mud is coming and we're scared. I called one lady and she was in a panic trying to get her and her animals out of the house as soon as possible.
A large wildfire that injured 5 people, destroyed around 1,000 homes and buildings, and forced tens of thousands of people to flee communities in the Lake Tahoe area.
So this is what we believe will be the longest tornado in U.S. history on the ground consecutively, at least 227 miles, but 200 of those were in Kentucky.
Basically a river of mud flowing behind these people's houses. The OC sheriff called for a mandatory evacuation order for the Silverado Canyon area. He sent out a tweet saying leave now, especially people with disabilities and residents with large animals. So some people left, some people decided to stay.
Hell and damnation. Does it sound like the world's coming to an end? Does it sound a little dramatic?
It sounds very dramatic.
But that's like watching a lot of these cable news outlets or reading any of these websites. It's hell and damnation, mudslides, fires, tornadoes.
But also they're saying climate change.
And it's all because of racism. Or is it climate change?
It's climate change.
Listen, you're going to be just fine today. You might be bummed out that $300 tax child credit is coming to an end.
But you're not going to be bummed out that it's 70 degrees or 75?
75 is the high today. Locally, really the big thing. So could see a record high today of 75. Right now it's 65. But really this wind could be a thing.
Yeah, it really could, Brandon and Stephanie. And we're looking potentially at about 40 to 50 miles an hour. The exact number they're giving right now is 43. And that would be probably late afternoon and into tonight. That'd be for both Columbia and Jefferson City. However, at the map that's changed a little bit further to the north, Iowa, Nebraska, they're looking at 60-mile-an-hour winds. So they're really warning people, A, make sure you have both hands on the wheel when you're driving, and B, Stephanie, they're saying to give truckers a lot of room because it's hard to drive a tractor trailer in that kind of wind.
So we've been playing a little game of like more than or less than this morning about marijuana.
Yes, grams. We're still trying to figure out
I have a question. This 45-mile-an-hour wind, is that more than or less than our photo shoot where that's our Facebook cover photo. If you go to Facebook, you can see it. And I think my hair, it kind of looks like I stuck my finger in a light socket almost. My hair is like floating. Hannah's hair is Brandon's hair looks
It's a beautiful picture. It's beautiful. Did we ever post that video on the Facebook page of the guy? We're doing a photo shoot downtown Columbia, and this guy just crashes our photo shoot, and he doesn't know. Smoking a cigarette. It's like, it looks like it should be a Beatles album cover.
It's hilarious.
Did we ever post that?
No, because it has music in it, remember?
Can we take the music? Does somebody have the video without music?
I do not, but I can ask.
Oh, okay.
I think I posted it on my social media. But I think, that wind, it just came out of nowhere. We were fine 1 minute and then the next. So maybe we'll recreate that when we're out at the Columbia Mall tonight.
That was September 30th. And you're right. It was, I would say if it wasn't 45, it was close. And that came out of nowhere. And the other thing I remember about that is the Brandon, you were kind of jumping up and down because the guy that kind of crashed the photo shoot there, you had a lot of fun with it, and he had fun with it too.
Yeah, it was fun. So it is going to be windy today. Mm-hmm. So that's something to keep in mind. And shortly we're going to be checking in with Andy Humphrey. He is at our Commerce Bank 1-for-1 holiday food drive. Other big thing this morning, really nationwide. So Mark Meadows, former Trump aide, he's told the 9 people on that lynch mob, he's like, listen, I've given you everything you want. Hell, you had Liz Cheney narrating some of the text between myself and members of the Fox News team. What more do you want?
And that's not insignificant. I mean, Brandon, I'm sure you wouldn't want Liz Cheney narrating your texts
I wouldn't
to the
want
public.
Anybody. No, my texts,
Nobody can narrate them because they're so full of typos and gibberish that it wouldn't make any sense.
The other thing that's happened is, credit card company has called my house, and they said, Brandon, guess what? We know you're maxed out on all your credit cards, and you can't pay them. So good news, we're raising the limit on your credit cards.
And you said yes.
And I said, sweet. That's what's happened. Congress, they've averted a catastrophic debt default. They've raised the debt ceiling. Credit card company has not called my house with that offer. But that's what's happened. They've said, hey, we know you can't pay your bills, you can't do this. So we're just going to raise.
Yeah, and we'll keep collecting that. What is the percentage? 8%, 9%, and you know what? You can just pay that later. Importantly, though, that debt does not evaporate, and someone is going to have to pay for it.
So we've got into this discussion yesterday, and it was kind of weird because our people know a lot about grams as it relates to pounds, as it relates to marijuana. There's because St. Louis Mayor Tashara Jones, there's an ordinance that says, hey, she wants to change so that under 35 milligrams of weed or 35 grams of weed, you're good. We ain't going to mess with you. And I agree with the mayor on that. This guy busted the other day, not charged yet, arrested out on I-70. And like 60 pounds of weed. And so there's some questions. If there were, and let's say there were, and I don't know how many people would have to be in the car, but what if there were enough people in the car that if you divvied it up, it was less than 35 milligrams per person?
You would need like an 747, I think. I think that's how many increments of 35 grams is in 60 pounds? I think it's quite a bit.
So what got, and this happened, I guess it was in Boone County. Dude got busted, and he was from Columbia. Again, latest that we're aware of, at least not charged. Number of grams in that 60 pounds? That's 27,215 grams of marijuana. Let's check in. Andy Humphrey, 1-for-1 holiday food drive, Commerce Bank at the mall. What are you seeing out there, bud? All right, Andy Humphrey, 93.9 The Eagle. This is Wake Up Columbia. Stephanie Bell, Brian Hauswirth, Hannah, the producer. My name is Branden. Rather, we were sharing a story the other day. I had the pleasure of running into Brian Hauswirth, and if I run into Brian Hauswirth or anybody here from the show, I consider it's a good day when I run into one of y'all out in public somewhere. I'm like, oh wow. Ran into Brian, the optometry department at Walmart the other day. I was getting some stuff. I went to Dr. Willett yesterday for conscious sedation dentistry. They let me bring a blanket. Listen to Christmas music while I had my teeth worked on, both of them. But anyhow, I saw Brian at Walmart the other day, and he's in the optometry department, and we start talking, and he's telling me this story, and you're having issues with your eyeglasses. Yep. And it's hard because, like, if you can't see when you're driving or reading news, it's an issue, and it makes you dizzy. It causes a lot of problems.
Yeah, it in progressive lenses, there's a link between progressive lenses and vertigo, and what we think is happening sometimes is I wear headphones quite a bit when I edit and when I'm doing the newscast. Other than that, I don't. Okay. But if even just a slight headphone moves around, it can affect the glasses, and they call them segs. There's a formal term for that, but it has a big impact.
All right, couple texts I got to mention here really quick.
Sure.
874-9390. You'd need close to 800 people in that car for them to each have less than 35 grams of marijuana. Stuart says there's 454 grams in a pound. Wow. So you'd have to have 800 people in that car. Under the proposed rule changes from St. Louis Mayor Tashara Jones's car got pulled over in Boone County the other day on I-70. 800 people would have to be in that car with 60 pounds. Say, oh, yeah, see, it's just 800 of us, and we all have 34.5 milligrams or 34.5 grams of marijuana.
I don't think that's how that works, Brandon.
It's like, and I don't know if this is true or not. In California, they are having, the state is run by Gavin Newsom. They're going back to masks everywhere. You know how they do in California. And they're not busting these people who do these smash and grab robberies or people that just walk into stores and steal stuff and nobody's doing anything because they know nothing's going to happen. And in California, I don't know what the level is in Missouri, but it's like $950. If you steal more than $950 worth, then you're in real trouble. So these people go in and they're stealing stuff under $900. No problem. So I think is what they should do is you should have a store, and no matter what you're selling in the store, everything costs $951. And if you want, I'll give you a coupon, and you exchange the coupon with me, and I'll give it to you at the real price. But meanwhile, everything's $951. If you steal my $951 Bic pen with 4 different colors in it,
oh my God,
you're in trouble.
What happened to those things that squirted ink on you? You should be covered in some sort of smell. There should be some punishment for stealing all of that stuff. Do they still use those?
Octopuses?
No,
the bus thing when somebody steals things that shoot ink. That's why I said octopus. Bank bag, exploding dye pack if you rob a bank.
It should be something worse than that now.
This is Wake Up Columbia, coming up 7:25-ish. We've got What's Hot with Hannah today. What do you have for us this morning, Hannah?
Did anybody ever ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And did you actually end up doing what you said you wanted to do when you grew up?
Oh, that's a really good question. Shop. His name is Gus. No kidding. It's true. Ask him. Go to Gap's Automotive. Even if you don't take your car to be worked on at Gap's Automotive Repair Shop, I'm serious. Pull over to Gap's Automotive Repair Shop on Vandiver and ask Gus about this. Gus, as a kid, I'm not kidding, man. He wanted to be a mechanic. And he wanted to help people. As a matter of fact, Gus just got out of mechanic school, whatever they call it. He's in Phoenix, Arizona. And he shows up and he's got a new job and he's brand new. He went to school for this. He's proud. And he reports into work, and his shirt is all nice and pressed. He's got his brand new toolbox, got all his fancy tools, got a smile on his face. He's starting his career. Then later on his first day at work, boss comes up to him and says, hey, you know what? That part doesn't need to be replaced, but spray paint it to make it look new, and then we'll charge him for a new part. And Gus looked at the guy, and he looked at the part, and he said, no, that's not why I got into this. Picked up his brand new box of tools and kindly left that job and came to Missouri and started Gap's Automotive Repair Shop. You'll love what they do for your car. Gap's Automotive Repair Shop, Vandiver and Columbia, and they're in Boonville.
Always certain. Sometimes right. This is Branden, Rathert, and Wake Up Columbia. 93.9 The Eagle.
$93.9 The Eagles 1-for-1 holiday food drive with Commerce Bank continues. The ball. You can get onto our website. A whole bunch of different ways that you can help today. Help folks just, they get into and jam and just need a little bit of help in the way of food. Right now, 7:25-ish, which means it's
7:28.
Time for What's Hot with Hannah.
So before we get started, just real quick, Keith just called in a couple minutes ago in the break, and he was laughing his butt off because he was picturing walking into Best Buy and seeing like squids attached to the televisions or something as the security system. He said he was cracking up in the car just picturing, a squid as a security tag in a store.
Well, we have this idea. By the way, Dakota in Boonville happens to like my idea. In California, if you steal less than $950, you're golden, basically. So I would have a store and everything. Even if it was a toothbrush or pens, it cost $951.
And no one would shop there.
I was going to say, I don't think you'd be in business very long.
But I would have coupons once I know you're legit.
You would lose them.
And I was Dakota says, genius. Even Hannah can't argue with that logic. Thank you.
I can.
But not successfully, I think is what he's saying. You can argue, but not successfully. Fox News is here. Former Trump aide, I guess, in trouble. And so Biden's going to be touring parts of the Midwest today. I don't know if he's going to make it over here to Missouri or Illinois where we have tornado damage, but apparently getting ready to leave and on Air Force One. He's looking out the window and he was marveling. He's like, man, we're so high. Look at that, man. Those people look like ants. And one of his aides finally had to tell him, Joe, those are ants. We haven't taken off yet. We're still sitting here on the airplane. Fox will have more on that story coming up. I have your ABC. 17 storm track forecast. Windy. Wind advisory today, high 75. Right now it's 65. And we're going to cool down a little bit this week. Weather's brought to you by Club Car Wash. Stop by Club Car Wash. Get an unlimited membership, $20 a month. More details at clubcarwash.com.
Fox News, I'm Lillian Wu. The president this morning heads to Kentucky, devastated by tornadoes.
President Biden was clear when he mentioned he would be traveling to areas including Mayfield and Dawson Springs today, that he wanted to make sure his visit did not interfere with the search and recovery efforts that are truly still top of mind and a priority here in communities like Dawson Springs, with more than 122 Kentuckians still unaccounted for.
Fox Weather's Nicole Valdez in Dawson Springs, Kentucky.
There's still so much need in communities like Dawson Springs, with still more than 24,000 without power across the state. We have about 500 or so National Guardsmen here on site hoping to help those find shelter, food, and water.
And a positive COVID test among his traveling party cuts short Secretary of State Blinken's trip to Southeast Asia. America's listening to Fox News.
And now, award-winning news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 7:31. We are expecting a warm day across mid-Missouri today. We're already at 65 degrees right now in Columbia. It's 63 degrees in Jefferson City. Sunny today with a high of 75. Showers tonight with a low near 39. And then that cold front moves in the overnight hours. Tomorrow, sunshine and a high of 52 degrees. Will be about 20 degrees cooler tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories that we are working on for you at this hour. The National Weather Service in Kansas City forecasting high winds across western and mid-Missouri today. 43-mile-per-hour wind gusts expected in Columbia and Jefferson City. The NWS is urging you to keep both hands on the wheel today. Stay aware of your surroundings. National Weather Service meteorologist Brent Peasel tells 93.9 The Eagle Columbia and Jefferson City have a marginal chance for severe weather coming up tonight. Members of Task Force 1 based in Columbia are conducting damage assessments on every structure in tornado-damaged Mayfield, Kentucky. That's 60 miles east of Sykeston. Boone County Fire Protection District Assistant Chief Gail Blumenkamp tells 93.9 The Eagle that Task Force 1 has completed more than 1,000 structural assessments.
Our crews are going through that town. They're seeing everything from total destruction to structures that have no damage at all.
President Biden will be traveling to Mayfield today. He'll survey the tornado damage. The Louisville Courier-Journal is reporting 8 people died when that tornado struck the Mayfield candle factory, on Friday evening. A Columbia man charged with killing a man in Boone County in November remains jailed without bond this morning. He is 36-year-old Mark Achterberg. He's charged with first-degree murder, the November shooting death of Justin Stidham. More on this case, 939theeagle.com. CPS says the number of Columbia Public School students receiving the COVID vaccine increases daily and that all students will have had access to the vaccine's first dose before winter break. That is according to CPS's Michelle Baumstark. And state health officials say Tuesday marked the first full year of safe and effective COVID vaccines being administered in Missouri. DHSS says 7.8 million doses have been administered in Missouri since that time. 93.9 The Eagle News is brought to you on this Wednesday morning by Dr. Kent Willett Dental Associates. Make an appointment now at the Willett Dental Associates, WillettDentalAssociates.com. Our news time, 7:34. In sports, Eli Drinkwitz in Mizzou football getting ready for the big signing day today. It's the first official day that Mizzou can sign recruits. Tiger coach Eli Drinkwitz will have a 2 o'clock press conference in Columbia. He'll be discussing recruiting efforts. He also plans events later this afternoon. One at 5 o'clock or thereabouts in Kansas City, one about 6:30 in St. Louis. So he's going to be very busy today traveling across the state announcing some of the recruits. All eyes as well in Booneville. High school football star DJ Wesolak announcing his college football decision. 3:30 Booneville Knights of Columbus Hall. He tells ABC 17's Andrew Kaufman he's narrowed his list now to 5 schools. Mizzou's on that list: Alabama, Georgia, LSU, USC. Hockey, the Blues over the Stars last night, 4-1. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 7:35.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
And our sports, by the way, was brought to you by Witt Print Shop, where your printed products are so much more than ink and paper. Traffic check is with MidmoHires.com. Local companies looking for local people. Roads pretty quiet right now, out and about. Wind gusts have been a little quiet right now, so we're expecting the major problems, if they happen, to be primarily late afternoon and evening with the strong gusts, but still be prepared for anything throughout the day. If you want to report a traffic issue, call or text us 573-874-9390. We'll have more team coverage in less than 30 minutes and breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
This is Coach Norm Stewart. You're listening to Branden Rathert, 93.9 The Eagle.
Man, how about the Norm Stewart Classic over the weekend? How cool is that? And these kids, Norm Stewart's been off the court, been off the sidelines, off the side of the court for I don't know how many years now, but a lot of these high school kids, they still know who Norm Stewart is here in Missouri.
Yeah, they do, and that's a great liner coming into your segment. I enjoyed that. Yeah, he announced his retirement. In a way, it seems like it was yesterday. In a way, it seems like it was a long time ago. 1999 is when he stepped down, but he's still
involved.
involved.
That was before Hannah was born.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and that was. I remember that was a wild day. It just
when Hannah was born. Gosh, it was. I remember we held little baby Hannah there in the hospital, and I almost named her Gertrude. That was my name, but her mom went with Hannah. By the way, a couple of things. So it was cool to see that they play basketball all weekend long this past weekend, and I always love it when we get to hear from Norm Stewart because there's going to be a day when he's not here anymore, and we will sorely miss him. Love Norm Stewart. A couple of things. Still have to get to what's hot with Hannah. We started to get into it, but squirrel. The other thing, I want to meet the new Massachusetts U.S. attorney who Joe appointed. We have that interesting study from the Heritage Foundation, and I'm going to award some points to Travis today. Travis, because Joe's getting ready, and I don't think he's coming here to the Show Me State. He was just here last week, but we did have a tornado kill the person just to the east of us in St. Charles. We had damage here in Missouri from the tornadoes, over in Illinois. By the way, let me ask you this, Council: how long is what's the appropriate amount of time after somebody dies? What's the appropriate amount of time to wait and say, we're going to sue you for like negligence or whatever? There is already, and they've got the civil rights attorney from Florida who's always doing stuff. Some family of people that died in that Amazon warehouse in Illinois. Already hiring an attorney. This thing's not even a week old. Like, wow. What's the proper amount of time of grieving time? I mean, are you making funeral arrangements and you're doing all that and you're writing the flowery eulogy and finding some of the best pictures and, oh, yeah, and I got to call this attorney, too.
Is it Benjamin Crump?
Yes, Benjamin
Crump. Okay,
yeah.
I didn't know. I hadn't heard that. There has been criticism, and I don't know the particulars of the lawsuit you're referring to, but I do know that Amazon, and there was a front page story about this in the Post-Dispatch, that that basically there's some allegations that was shoddy construction in kind of in a not a great area, flood zone.
And apparently they weren't trained very well. Like, hey, in case of an emergency, when the stuff hits the fan, here's what you do. It always strikes me. And then attorney says, yes, I'll sue, but first let's bury your relatives, and then let's start the paperwork on this. Yeah. It's just, I find it odd. And we got to continue a story that we forgot to tell with Brian. We're going to be checking in with Andy Humphrey here shortly on 93.9 The Eagle. He is hanging out at our 1 for 1 holiday food drive. Andy, welcome back into the show. What can we do to help you all out this morning? All right, Andy, thank you. Brian, you're out there later today?
Yes, 10 to 2 over at the Columbia Mall.
Steph and I will be out there sometime later this afternoon. Yes? I just felt like I was getting a weird look from...
I'm giving you a weird look because you're so non-committal about the time. Like, I intend to be there later. I feel like, am I going to show up and I'm going to be by myself?
He hasn't read his email yet, Steph. Just like he hasn't checked his voicemails for the day.
I think we're going to be there from 3 to 6. So we'll see you guys there.
Do you know me? Do you know how non-committal I am?
I do know this.
So any event that we have all gone to together, Steph and I are usually the first two there. And we sit there and we take bets on what time Branden's going to show up.
But in my defense, I'm schmoozing.
I'm combing my hair.
Okay, so squirrel. A couple of things that we haven't gotten to yet. What's Hot with Hannah, which we do every morning, 7:25-ish. And I want to make sure we get this because I think it's a great question. The other thing, I started telling my story about Brian Hauswirth at the optometry department at Walmart the other night and completely... So what should I do first? Finish the Brian story or what's hot with Hannah?
Hannah.
And we have this great study from the Heritage Foundation.
Yeah, about election integrity and where Missouri ranks as compared with other states.
By the way, there was, just yesterday, it was revealed in Florida, 3 people in a retirement community busted for election fraud. They were voting in person at the retirement home and then mailing ballots to like their home states. Brian's story first or what's hot with Hannah?
Which one's faster?
Brian's story. I see Brian at the optometry department the other night in Walmart, and Brian, he's got his glasses, and we're sitting there just chatting, and he says, like, see, those, and he's talking about these signs across the store. I can see that says $39.99, but I have to do this with my glasses, and I can see it. And that says $14.99, and this happened about 3 times in the conversation.
Yep.
Do you remember that?
I do.
He kept saying, and see, I can see that says $39.99, and I can read that, and that says $14.99.
Did any of them say 951?
People are liking this idea, by the way.
Don't get distracted.
Susan on the text, they say, oh no, she likes the idea of the octopuses instead of exploding die packs. The octopuses, so you rob some money and an octopus go off. So Brian, he keeps these glasses and he says, yeah, I can read that clearly, $39.99. And Hannah, it occurred to me, and I didn't think about it till afterwards, but the whole time I'm thinking,
Go figure, right?
this is funny. But then I felt bad because I thought maybe I should have said something to you then while you were at the optometrist's with your new glasses. And here's why. And I haven't told Brian this yet. You kept saying $39.99. It was $39.92.
Oh, it was? Okay. Yeah.
Both of the sides.
I cannot believe you didn't tell him this.
But you just kept, like you believed it. And I didn't tell him because I'm thinking, okay, he'll correct it. But 3 times you couldn't see it right. But
and 3 times you let him say it and not say anything.
And in retrospect, it probably the proper thing to do would have been to have said something to you then while you were at the optometrist office.
Well, now I know, and that gets back to what we talked about, adjusting the segs, because you can't see everything. It all has to do with the line of sight. But no big deal. I appreciate you letting me know.
You need to go.
Brandon is the kind of guy who, if your fly is down, he'll let you walk around all day with your fly down.
But if
He
you
won't
do that,
say-
if you do that to him, he's gonna whine about it.
Coming up, Bill O'Reilly, good friend of Wake Up Call. We got some history with Bill O'Reilly. By the way, Bill O'Reilly's here every morning, 5:55. A lot of folks say, yeah, whatever happened to Bill O'Reilly? He's got like an internet TV show kind of thing.
Sure.
I guess kind of like Wake Up Columbia. Does he do like what we're doing on Wake Up Columbia? He's got the YouTube channel. Like you can watch our show. You go to YouTube and search 93.9 The Eagle Live, and you can watch it. You can see some behind the scenes stuff. And it's really worth checking out right now. Hannah has posted something really cool on her microphone. So go to the YouTube video and watch that. So Bill O'Reilly, he's got a show, I guess kind of like we do. But we've got history with him because he's been on the show a couple of times, and he's never friendly with Hannah. And I don't appreciate it. You can be it to me, but don't do that to anybody else on the show. But Bill O'Reilly was talking. Dan Abrams, he's an attorney. He's got some shows you've probably seen, like the Cop Ripoff Show, whatever that is, and he's got a whole network now. You'll see him on ABC a lot, but he was talking to Bill O'Reilly.
Well, sure, because.
So he's asked a question, and Bill O'Reilly, and that some people might call it arrogance. Bill O'Reilly would probably tell you it's just confidence. But in that,
Women would say it's just being a man.
True dat.
Yeah. That overly. What was the question that he was asked? We're going to get into that coming up at 7:50 here on 93.9 The Eagle. And hydro jetting, these folks, man, they keep the world going. They keep the world going around. Really, if you think about what they do. Okay, septic tanks, sure, and then keeping lagoons drained. But grease traps, like any of the finer establishments in town that have food, there's a chance they keep going because of pro-pumping and hydrojetting. And one of the other things I want to mention this. So they found somebody to be a technician. They're still looking for somebody. If you're good at a bunch of different things, you have value, right? It's just a matter of matching your value with somebody like Pro Pumping and Hydrojetting. Send them an email. They're looking like office help. Can you do a bunch of different things? Okay, that's you. Send an email to the folks at Pro Pumping and Hydrojetting. Get onto their website, pro-pumping.com.
This is Woke Up Columbia. And not really. Just kidding. 93.9 The Eagle.
I get out of the car. I look back, and I was like, holy shit, it's the whole garage. The whole garage. And that's when I lost it.
Are you a fan of that NASCAR driver, Bubba Wallace? ESPN did a special on him last night, and they're getting dragged through the mud this morning. So that's a promo for this, and is what he's talking about. You can hear, and there's this whole video. There's all these people coming behind him. You remember Bubba Wallace was the guy last year. He's a black NASCAR driver, part black, whatever. Person of color. We're all of color. You're a person of color too, Stephanie. I despise that phrase, by the way. Well, they're people of color. Well, so am I. And I'm about as white as they come. But I have color. I am a person of color. Despise that phrase. Anyhow, Bubba Wallace, black NASCAR driver, finds there was a rope in his garage, says it was a noose. And, of course, you know, the media jumped on it hard. Well, within a matter of days after the Federal Bureau of Investigations said, yeah, that's not a noose that was hung up in your garage, man. That's a rope. It's a knot that's been there forever. And it's got, you didn't hear all these news outlets coming out and saying, hey, that it had nothing to do with race. It didn't fit the narrative. They kept it was race. It was race. So anyhow, so in this promo from ESPN, in the video, they're talking about that.
I get out of the car. I look back, and I was like, holy shit, it's the whole garage.
It's everybody was coming out to support him. But the problem is it goes in this whole thing, and they don't say in the promo that, like, okay, just so you know, but the promo is built around the noose that was found in his garage. It simply, and as a matter of pure and simple fact, it didn't happen. And ESPN's going with this promo, oh, you know, it was just so horrible, but everybody, and people did support him when we didn't know. We believed him. And he wasn't lying. He wasn't lying about it. It's just what he thought. Somebody was out to get him with a noose in the garage by the ESPN, running with a false narrative. Why? Because they want people to tune in and to watch this special. Welcome into the show. A couple of the big things happening today. So Fox News coming up. Mark Meadows facing contempt charges. Mark Meadows telling the 9 people on this lynch mob, listen, I've given you everything you wanted. I'm not showing up. Fox News will have more on that. Joe Biden touring some of the states today damaged by tornadoes. And then our big story here locally, it's going to be 75 today. We'll probably set a record. And it's going to be windy, like winds upwards of 50 miles an hour. Brian Hauswirth been keeping an eye on this, and according to him and what he's seeing with Kevin Schneider, meteorologist at ABC 17, it looks like mostly the brunt of this wind stuff today. It's going to be mostly north of Columbia, but we're talking winds like up to 50 miles an hour.
Yeah, when he said that, you know, I lived in Kirksville for a while, and that place is windy every day, not just today, but particularly today.
So, and we will keep you updated here during the 1-for-1 holiday food drive with Commerce Bank. As a matter of fact, right now, Andy Humphrey is out there. Stephanie Bell and I will be out there later this afternoon. Bill O'Reilly, people still, what happened to Bill O'Reilly? He's got a show on the internet, and he does something here every morning, 5:55 on 93.9 The Eagle. He's on, I don't know if you've heard of the guy Dan Abrams. He's an attorney, does a lot of stuff with ABC, and he's done a couple of shows like a cop ripoff show, kind of. He does a lot of stuff. He's got his own little show where he talks to people in media, and I thought kind of an interesting question that was posed to Bill O'Reilly, because this is something I think a lot of us talk about. Dan Abrams is, and Bill O'Reilly's only been off the TV not even 5 years. Remember, he left Fox in 2017 because he's been inappropriate with some of the women in the workplace. But he's asked by Abrams, he's like, could you, excuse me, still do the show you used to do then?
Omicron.
Dang it, Hannah. Sorry, Steph.
Why is it my fault? Why are you yelling at me?
Oh, I'm not. I'm not yelling at you. So here's how he answered. He said, do you think you could still do that show that you did 5 years? Could you do it today? And in true Bill O'Reilly fashion.
Well, sure, because I brought in millions and millions of viewers and billions of dollars to that corporation.
Which is true. He's not lying. A little braggadocious.
Slightly.
for more than 20 years. Look, there'll never be another cable news anchor who's number one for 16 consecutive years.
A little braggadocious.
Sounds very typical for a male.
But he's being accurate.
Okay.
Not telling any lies, not saying anything that's not factual.
It's a different world now. Everything is fractured now. But if I went back to any network and reimposed the O'Reilly factor where we brought on people to debate from all sides and we presented as evidence as best we could, backed up by facts, that show would go through the roof. But it's easy to play to the choir, and that's what they're all doing now. That's easy.
So in other words, he's saying he doesn't want to be, and I get it because I say that all the time too. I don't want to sit here and complain for Democrats suck, rah, 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 for 3 hours a day. Don't do that, won't do it, never have done it, done quite well without that. And Bill O'Reilly is saying the same thing. I can go on the TV and be an echo chamber, but I'm not doing it.
Yeah, but one thing in legal pleadings, I strike out, it is clear. Because if it was that clear, would you have to say it is clear? So if Bill O'Reilly was such a big deal, would he have to talk about what a big deal he was?
Or what a big deal he used to be.
Right.
Bill O'Reilly's here weekday mornings, 5:55 on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com. Fox has the latest on Mark Meadows coming up here at 8 o'clock. And wind time frame of the wind issues we're having today coming up at 8:03. Good morning. I am Branden Rathert for the Mid-Missouri Better Business Bureau. Right now, we're seeing this. You probably have seen it in one fashion, one shape, one way or another. You have seen this, folks. Asking for help for the victims of the tornadoes here in Missouri and over in Illinois, Tennessee, and Kentucky, which is great. You want to help? Cool. But it's times like these when we have these, especially these natural disasters. And it's kind of, we're human beings. We want to help, and we jump up, we want to help, and sometimes we may not always put the right amount of thought into something like that because get out of my way. I want to help. Mid-Missouri Better Business Bureau is reminding you. If you go to their website, they have some things on there that you might want to look for. I think the biggest one that I see, and in chatting with Michelle Gleba from the Mid-Missouri Better Business Bureau all the time, is those websites that just one letter off of, instead of like redcross.com, it's redcross.com. So those are the kind of things you want to be careful about.
He'll see firsthand just how bad it is. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Biden leaves for tornado-ravaged Kentucky later this hour.
You walk outside, your town doesn't even look like a town anymore. It's nothing but rubble.
She is in Mayfield, one of the communities the president will survey. At least 74 people were killed in the state. About 100 others remain unaccounted for. The president's dealing with poll numbers showing strong voter disapproval of his handling of inflation, immigration, and crime, making Republicans optimistic about taking control of Congress in the 2022 elections, but he doesn't think so.
I want to tell my Republican friends, get ready, pal. You're going in for a problem.
The president at a Democratic National Committee holiday party last night. The House has voted to hold another top Trump aide in contempt of Congress.
Federal prosecutors will now decide whether to pursue charges against former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows for contempt of Congress.
We've learned many of those interactions took place on his personal device. We need to talk to Mr. Meadows about that.
January 6th Select Committee Democrat Zoe Lofgren says Meadows needs to answer questions about who he was talking to as rioters breached the Capitol. Republican Jim Banks says Democrats are not interested in fact-finding.
It's all about burying their political opponents.
Meadows has handed over thousands of documents, but says he will protect other material he says is shielded by executive privilege. On Capitol Hill, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
At around midnight, the House joined the Senate approving raising the debt limit by $2.5 trillion to avoid a U.S. default. Lawmakers also held a candle lighting on the Capitol steps to mark 800,000 U.S. COVID deaths.
More than 200,000 of those deaths coming after vaccines became widely available last spring. The U.S. leads the world in coronavirus deaths and cases, topping 50 million infections since the pandemic began.
Fox's Steve Rappaport. California has a new mask mandate for everyone in indoor public places starting today. New York's went into effect Monday. America's listening to Fox News.
Now, the stock market's at a record high again. Things are looking up. Houses are selling in a week. Interest rates are still crazy low. And to top it all off, the government printed $5 trillion in new money. You might have noticed that all of this doesn't add up. It's like those plates spinning on top of those sticks. When they stop, it all comes crashing down, right? You need to keep your cash safe, not crashing down. Using precious metals is a well-proven way to do this. In a gold or silver IRA 401k rollover, you even get tax breaks while you bomb-proof your money. To find out how you can do this, you need to talk to one of Noble Gold's representatives. They're patient and knowledgeable and can help you navigate the precious metals market. This month, Noble Gold is giving away a free America the Beautiful solid silver 5-ounce coin with any qualifying IRA that you start. Call 877-646-5347 now to find out more, or visit our website at noblegoldinvestments.com.
93.9 The Eagle News with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 8:03. We have a sunny sky already today. 66 here in Columbia. We're going to be warm today. Partly sunny with a high of 75. Showers tonight, low near 39. Tomorrow, sunshine after the cold front moves through with a high of 52 degrees. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories we are working on at this hour. A Columbia man charged with murder has been ordered to remain jailed without bond until his trial. Boone County Judge Tracy Gonzalez holding a Tuesday hearing for 36-year-old Mark Achterberg, noting that Achterberg fled to Iowa after the November killing and had to be extradited back to Missouri. The judge telling Achterberg in open court that no combination of monetary or non-monetary conditions will secure the safety of the community or other person. End of quote. That includes crime victims and witnesses. Achterberg is charged with first-degree murder for the shooting death of Justin Stidham. The incident happening just north of Columbia. Now, there were two men sitting next to me in court. As soon as the judge announced her decision, they pumped their fist into the air. They supported the judge's decision. They were apparently either family members or friends of the victim, Justin Stidham. And again, Achterberg is jailed without bond. A former Mosher's employee who set the company's Fulton grocery store on fire this summer has avoided prison time.
A Fulton woman pleads guilty to first-degree attempted arson after setting that fire at Moser's in June. 48-year-old Pamela Cordray sentenced to 5 years on probation and will have to pay some $21,000. She intentionally set the fire in the basement of Moser's on North Business 54 back on June 17th. Cordray was an employee and working at the time of the fire. John Marsh, 93.9 The Eagle.
Well, our tornado threat is low today and tonight, but the National Weather Service says Columbia and Jefferson City can still expect 43-mile-per-hour wind gusts today. National Weather Service Pleasant Hill meteorologist Brent Piesel says the wind gusts in mid-Missouri will start this morning at about 20 miles per hour. Marginal chance of severe weather tonight, primarily between 8 and 11 if it happens this evening. National Weather Service urges you to slow down on the road, give extra room to truckers as well. Officials from CPS say the district's contract tracing and quarantine protocols will change in January. We'll learn details about those changes before January the 4th. According to CPS's Michelle Baumstark, she notes a message is being sent to CPS families and employees after the board's Monday vote to end the district's indoor mask requirement. Baumstark also notes CPS will continue with its school-based COVID vaccination clinics through January. Missouri's health director says thousands of Missouri vaccinators have worked tirelessly across the state to vaccinate residents and remove barriers to access. The State Department of Health and Senior Services says Tuesday marked 1 full year of safe and effective COVID vaccines being administered in Missouri. DHSS says 52% of Missourians have completed their vaccination process. And the Commerce Bank 1-for-1 food drive, sponsored by Zimmer Radio Group, is underway at this hour at both Columbia Mall and Jefferson City's Orscheln. 93.9 The Eagles' Andy Humphrey having live reports all morning on Wake Up Columbia. From Columbia Mall, the 1-for-1 food drive raises money and collects food to help our neighbors in need. 32-county area. A $25 donation can provide at least 100 meals. And the food bank, especially if you're donating canned goods, they need canned meat and canned fruits and vegetables. You can drop those by in Columbia until 6 o'clock tonight at the Columbia Mall near the Wendy's if you're in Jefferson City, near Orscheln as well. Austin Peterson, John Marsh, and a number of our colleagues at KWS and the other stations in Jeff City on hand for that today as well. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 8:06. In sports, Boonville High School football standout DJ Wesselak plans to announce his college football decision at 3:30 today at the Boonville Knights of Columbus Hall. Folks, if you haven't seen him, he is the real deal. Outstanding player. He's got 5 schools on his Final 5 list, according to Andrew Kaufman of ABC 17. Mizzou's on the list. Alabama. Nick Saban wants him. Kirby wants him at Georgia, USC, LSU. He'll make his final decision 3:30 today. Speaking of Mizzou football, he's ready for signing day today. Eli Drinkwitz is first official day that they can sign recruits. 2 o'clock press conference here in Columbia. He'll be discussing recruiting efforts. 93.9 The Eagle Sports brought to you this hour by Club Car Wash, clubcarwash.com. Find a location near you. It's 8:07.
I'm ABC 17 Stormtrack meteorologist Kevin Schneider. A windy day setting up across the area. A wind advisory is in effect for all of mid-Missouri until tonight with the threat of 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts possible. It's going to help us warm up into the low to mid-70s by this afternoon. Line of storms will move in tonight, which could bring an additional wind threat of their own, but should pass through shortly after midnight, with overnight lows falling into the middle 40s. I'm meteorologist Kevin Schneider, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on 93.9 The Eagle.
All right, Kevin, thank you. Great work today, as always. Our weather brought to you by Club Car Wash, clubcarwash.com. Find a location near you. In Columbia at 66. 8:08, our traffic check with midmohires.com here on 93.9 and 93.9theeagle.com. Local companies looking for local people, midmohires.com. Again, roads pretty quiet right now in mid-Missouri. Just a reminder from the National Weather Service to be very careful on the roads today. I don't remember them saying this, at least in recent memory, but they're really emphasizing both hands on the steering wheel and give yourself extra time, and certainly give the truckers a lot of room today. I'm sure they've said that in the past, but I don't remember it because this is pretty rare to see these kind of wind gusts right now, except during severe weather. So be prepared for that. If you're heading to the west, maybe up to St. Joseph, Iowa, Nebraska, definitely take care. They're looking at 60 to 65 mile per hour wind gusts this afternoon and tonight. If you want to report a traffic issue, 573-874-9390. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
People saying the mud is coming and we're scared. I called one lady and she was in a panic trying to get her and her animals out of the house as soon as possible.
A large wildfire that injured 5 people, destroyed around 1,000 homes and buildings, and forced tens of thousands of people to flee communities in the Lake Tahoe area.
So this is what we believe will be the longest tornado in U.S. history on the ground consecutively, at least 227 miles, but 200 of those were in Kentucky.
Basically a river of mud flowing behind these people's houses. The OC sheriff called for a mandatory evacuation order for the Silverado Canyon area. He sent out a tweet saying leave now, especially people with disabilities and residents with large animals. So some people left, some people decided to stay.
Man, it sounds bad when you package it all together like that. Tornadoes and earthquakes and hurricanes and mudslides and fires, and they're doing the same thing right now. A lot of these news outlets. Almost 800,000 people have died from coronavirus. Well, you know what? If we have a population in the U.S. of 330,000, 295,000 people, and 800,000, that means 332,100,000 people haven't died from it. So knock it off with this dang scoreboard, man. Big weather, big stories today locally is going to be warm, 75. Wind could become an issue later today, and we're going to keep you posted on that. And do we know? So it's just something that happens once in a while. The wind, or did Kevin Schneider at ABC 17 say, "Well, it's climate change"?
He did not. Yeah, he did not. And when I talked to the Weather Service yesterday, I talked to the meteorologist there, Brett Piesel, and he didn't either. Although I've seen some of the national outlets keep using that term. This is just what we're dealing with today about these strong winds. Eventually, potentially 45, maybe up to 50, but Weather Service has dropped that down from 45 to 43. You go up to Moberly, they're looking at higher. The further north you go, obviously the higher the winds. But I don't remember a time, Brandon, where the Weather Service has really urged people to use both hands on the wheel. Just haven't seen it.
We'll keep you posted, of course, today here on 93.9 The Eagle. And we want to get into What's On with Hannah. What did you want to do when you were growing up? Something we've posted on Facebook, and it's getting some really good traction this morning because I think about what I wanted to do when I grew up. We'll get into that. First, want to say hello to Andy Humphrey, 1-for-1 holiday food drive with Commerce Bank, the mall out there on Stadium. What is it we're asking folks to do this morning to help us out, Andy? Thank you, Andy. Brian's out there later today?
10 to 2. I'll have some live reports when Travis Fitzwater fills in, the state representative, during Gary Nolan into the afternoon as well.
And then Stephanie's going to be out there 3 to 6 this afternoon.
And you too.
Welcome into the show. It's Wake Up Columbia. Stephanie Bell is here.
Good morning.
Brian Hauswirth.
Good morning.
Hannah, the producer.
What up?
My name is Branden Rathert. Off the text, I got to give Aaron some points here. We're playing this audio. Bill O'Reilly's being interviewed. He's asking, could you go and do your show that you did up until as recently as 4 years ago? Could you do your show on TV nowadays?
Well, sure, because I brought in millions and millions of viewers and billions of dollars to that corporation for more than 20 years. Look, there'll never be another cable news anchor who's number one.
Everything he is saying is factual. Those are facts. Those cannot be disputed. You cannot argue against that. Does it sound a little braggadocious?
Yeah, I mean, if you're really important, you don't have to talk about how important and successful you are, right? Like Elon Musk walks into a room and he's not like, hey, guys, guess what I did today?
Or Jeff Bezos has a factory, gets destroyed by a tornado. I'm going to outer space this weekend with Michael Strahan. But anyway, so we were joking. So he sounds pompous and arrogant, although what he is saying is actual. Aaron says Stephanie may be right about all men being braggadocious. How many times have we heard? When I was in top 40 radio. Wow.
Now, careful. We can't stereotype men like that.
Oh, we're stereotyping me. And see, when I say, well, I used to work top 40 radio, I'm doing it not to say I brag. It's almost kind of like, I feel like I'm in confession. I'm not saying it to brag. I'm saying it is like confession. That is one of the things off the text this morning. 874-9390, 874-9390. And a lot of folks actually liking this. I thought it was just California. You can steal under $950, you steal stuff, you're good, and they know it, man. If you even end up in the back of a squad car, these criminals, and it's in a lot of these cities, Philadelphia, New York, San Francisco, they laugh in the squad car because they know nothing is going to happen to them. My idea, prevent maybe some of these smash and grabs or these people that are, I'm going to have a store, and the cheapest thing, it's $951. I don't care if it's a tube of toothpaste or a big pen with 4 different colors. So that way, if you steal a pen from me, that's a felony. You're in trouble. And I'll have coupons, so you can come to me once I see you're legit. I'll give you a coupon, and I'll charge you $3.49 or however much this big pen cost. 874-9390. Gary, what is on your mind this morning?
Well, three things, a couple suggestions, and I like your idea with everything being $951 and then give a coupon. That's a good idea. At least maybe they'll get some prosecutions. But, I mean, they might at least book them, then turn them loose. Next thing is I asked Hannah possibly if y'all had any more T-shirts. I think y'all should get some T-shirts, real big. Let's go Branden on the front. On the back, put on 93.9, Wake Up Columbia, whatever, with all your names, and put Branden big on the back so you got a plausible denial.
I know.
That way you can say, hey, I'm just boosting the morning show of Columbia.
Gary, you know what? That is a brilliant idea that I've been trying to sell for 3 months now, actually. And what's your third thought?
That's a great idea.
I know.
And then the last suggestions for the Democrats, because the Republicans know this, they need to hire a bunch of dog trainers to come in and advise them what to do about crime. Because a dog trainer knows if you give a dog a treat every time it pees on your leg, you're going to have a wet leg. They're that smart. Yeah. The Democrats aren't.
Yeah, and they know. Gary, if you do me a favor, if you hold a hand, I'll get some info. I do have a Let's Go Branden with an E. I do have a Let's Go Branden shirt for you, and it does say 93.9, the eagle on the back. D-Sport Graphics made them for us. So I'm going to put you on hold, Hannah. We'll get some info, and I'll make sure you get one of those shirts, okay?
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
All right. You're welcome. We appreciate you being a part of the Wake Up Columbia family here on 93.9, the eagle. Okay, so what should I do next? We keep running.
Go to break.
Go to break. Okay, so we'll go to break.
Sorry.
But I do, because we want to do the Morning Bell with Stephanie Bell, business news with a little twist that only Stephanie Bell can give you. And then what's hot with Hannah today? What a great question. This has me really regretting. Because it's kind of fun sometimes to think back, and I go back. But the question is, if you look at your life now, and we all had these things, when we were kids growing up, we wanted to be this, wanted to do that. And Hannah asked the question, are you doing that? No.
That's dark.
I know, because part of it's fun. Oh, yeah. Because I wanted to be a Major League ball player. Until I was, 6 or 8. And then I wanted to be an attorney. I even went to a prep high school to study law. And I didn't do any of that. And so it can be almost a morbid study in decisions that you've made through life. Or the other thing, too, is, we're all just right where we're supposed to be at this very moment in time. Coming up, Morning Bell. What do you have for us this morning, Steph?
Well, there is a list of things millennials killed. I think like the Top Sheet and some other things, buffets maybe. But the millennials are supercharging one thing. What is that?
All right, we're going to find out. Morning Bell, Stephanie Bell.
Moving forward with Branden Rathert and Wake Up Columbia. 93.9 The Eagle.
I am the love gov. I'm a cool dude in a loose mood. I just say let it go. Just go with the flow, baby, you know.
Arrogance doesn't play well to that former New York governor, Cuomo there. I'm the love gov, baby. So not only is he without a job, not only is he still facing potentially trouble, legal issues. Now the state of New York says, hey, all that money that you've been making off that book, you need to hook us up. You need to give that back because you did it while you were governor and you utilized taxpayer resources to write that book. So I think they want like $5 million. Man, it can't be $5. Did he make $5 million off that book? Maybe it was 1.5. I don't know. But they want their money back. Welcome into Wake Up Columbia. We are doing our 93.9 The Eagle 1-for-1 holiday food drive with Commerce Bank. Andy Humphrey is there. Stephanie and I are going to be out there later today. Brian Hauswirth will be out there too. So if you get a chance, Stephanie and I think will be out there 3 to 6. Hauswirth is out there 10 to 2. Anytime you get a chance, we would love the opportunity to be able to meet you and say hello. It's 8:25. Time for the Morning Bell business news with that little twist that only Stephanie Bell can give you.
So millennials are blamed, and I am an elder millennial technically blamed for killing a lot of things. Tissues, I think, like Kleenexes, top sheets, all sorts of things. But now we're actually getting some credit, thank goodness. We are supercharging the housing market. And so when we first got into the workforce, people were saying that we were just going to rent and we were never going to buy and all of that. But now a lot of millennials are getting into like housing investing and everything else. And right now, millennials account for more than half, I think, of all of the home purchases. And so let's see, I think millennials would start at like age 40. And then when's your generation start, Hannah?
It's like 1998 or something like that.
So like anyone from 25 to 40. So it kind of makes sense because we're kind of in that home buying period. But I think it was predicted that we would not be home purchasers. And I think maybe some combination of what's going on with the economy, but the housing market, it fascinates me, especially just, recently. I think we've had a lot of people who were renting and who were like, I need more space if I'm going to be stuck at home, if I'm going to be remotely working. But then again, how is that? We've heard less about it, I think, in the last 4 or 5 months. But I think still, even here locally, the housing prices are insane.
Yeah.
It's really hard to get a hold of a piece of property. Things are, turning over really, really quickly. So, are we going to see that continue? Is it a generational thing? Does it have to do with COVID? And then if we are millennials using housing as kind of an investment, is that wise? Are we going to, if people are buying these homes at these inflated prices, are we making the correct decision?
It's what I find interesting over the past 2 years, the other thing, and this is something that we didn't deal with it internally, but from a marketing standpoint, who we had calling us a lot in the past 2 years? Divorce attorneys.
Really?
Divorce, and I don't know locally, I don't know the numbers, anecdotally, but apparently even divorces because people were forced to spend a lot of time together, and they're like, I really don't like you, and I didn't know that.
It's a good thing that a lot of us get 8 hours a day at work, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So the housing is crazy, and I just wonder here, with that and cars, those are the two things that I think, we thought there would be a little blip, and it seems like with the chip shortage and then housing prices, those things have now continued, and I don't think it's getting any better. I think your realtors would say it's not as bad as it was, the prices and the time of turnover, but it's still, if you're looking for a property right now, not only I think are you going to pay more, but you've got to be really quick to act.
And the other thing I'm hearing, people, they put and I'm not in housing, and I haven't. Well, it's been a lot of years since I've owned a home, but the other thing that's happening is people are, you put your house on the market for a price, and then people bid on it. A lot of people then they're changing the price of their home because they're getting bids higher than even their asking price.
Oh, for sure.
So people know I got to put some money down on this, and I got to do it quickly. Fox News is coming up. Latest on Mark Meadows. Biden's out on the road today traveling some, areas of the country got hit by tornadoes. I don't know if he's going to be in Missouri or Illinois, but I know for sure Mayfield, Kentucky is on his radar today. And then Brian Hauswirth is here. Wind advisory today. We're talking like winds up to 50 miles an hour. Kind of most people want to look at the time frame on this. How might this affect your day? He has that at 8:31. And then 8:35, what's hot with Hannah? What'd you want to be with when you grew up? And are you doing what you wanted to be?
That check of weather brought to you by Club Car Wash. Stop by Club Car Wash today to get an unlimited membership for just $20 a month. See more details on clubcarwash.com and find a location near you.
Fox News, I'm Lillian Wu. President Biden expected to see firsthand the devastation in Kentucky from last week's deadly storms.
4 tornadoes on the ground for more than 200 miles in Kentucky. At least 74 people in Kentucky were killed during these tornadoes, but that death toll expected to climb. 12 of those Kentuckians killed were children. Kentucky's governor tells us there are still 122 people unaccounted for, expecting that they're still going to be out here looking through the wreckage.
Fox's Alexis McAdams in Mayfield, Kentucky. And Americans didn't buy as much as expected last month.
A headline number for November retail sales, we came in with a gain of 0.3%. That was, that's month over month. That's actually much weaker than what was expected. If you strip out autos, you also came in with a gain of 0.3%. But we were expecting a gain of 0.9% for sales.
Fox's Cheryl Cassoni. America's listening to Fox News.
And now, award-winning news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 8:31. We are seeing warm conditions right now across central Missouri. It's 67 right now in Columbia, 65 already in Jefferson City. Our high today around 75 before the rain and cold front moves in tonight. Showers tonight, low near 39. Tomorrow, our high will only be around 52 degrees. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories we are working on for you at this hour. Members of Missouri Task Force 1 are still conducting damage assessments on every structure in Mayfield, Kentucky. Tornado damaged Mayfield. That's 60 miles east of Sikeston. Boone County Fire Protection District Assistant Chief Gail Blumenkamp tells 93.9 The Eagle the Task Force 1 has completed more than 1,000 structural assessments.
You know, our crews are going through that town. They're seeing everything from total destruction to structures that have no damage at all.
Now, we have posted a photo of one of the houses hit by the tornado in Mayfield. There's hardly anything left of that house. You can find that picture on our website, 939theeagle.com. Those photos courtesy of Mr. Blumenkamp. President Biden will be traveling to Mayfield later today. He'll survey the tornado damage. Closer to home, the National Weather Service in Kansas City forecasting high winds across western and mid-Missouri today. 45-mile-per-hour wind gusts expected in both Columbia and Jefferson City. The NWS is urging you to keep both hands on the wheel today. A Columbia man charged with killing a man in Boone County in November is still jailed without bond this morning and will continue to be probably through at least the rest of the year. 36-year-old Mark Achterberg is charged with first-degree murder for the November shooting death of Justin Stidham. Achterberg appeared in Boone County Circuit Court on Tuesday, and the judge in this case, Tracy Gonzalez, rejected bond attempts. To be clear, she says he will remain in jail until further notice, likely until his trial, and that trial date has not been set as of yet. And you have an opportunity today to help feed hungry neighbors and friends in mid and northeast Missouri. It's the Commerce Bank 1-for-1 food drive at Columbia Mall. It's underway at this hour, sponsored by Zimmer Radio Group. Our Jefferson City stations are doing a similar event that is linked with the food bank. That one is at Orshawin. Proceeds go to the Food Bank of Central and Northeast Missouri. Food Bank President Lindsay Young Lopez tells the Eagle it has been a very challenging time for her staff members and volunteers. Many of the people who need help are needing it for the first time. Andy Humphrey is having live reports all morning here on Wake Up Columbia. 93.9 The Eagle News Time is brought to you this hour by Hemi Construction, with homes and lots in the southwest neighborhoods of Chapel Hill Meadows, Nursery Heights, and Creek's Edge. Our news time, 8:33. In sports, the Blues beat the Dallas Stars last night 4-1, and a lot of attention in Boonville. High school football standout DJ Wesolak will be announcing his college football decision at 3:30 this afternoon at the Boonville Knights of Columbus Hall. He tells our friend Andrew Kaufman, the sports director at Channel 17, he's narrowed his list down to 5 schools, no particular order. Mizzou's on the list, Alabama, Georgia, LSU, USC. We'll find out everyone together 3:30 today. Our news time, 8:34.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
Traffic check with MidmoHires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. It's MidmoHires.com to find a job or post your job opening today. Roads right now pretty quiet in mid-Missouri. If you want to report a traffic issue, call or text us 573-874-9390. We'll have more team coverage in less than 30 minutes, and we have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
The abilities, understand policing, was on the ground, and something you hear me saying over and over again, emotionally intelligent. Don't tell me about academics. Don't tell me about Ivy League schools. Don't tell me about how many credentials you have. How are you as a human being?
That makes a lot of sense to me. That's the NYC mayor-elect. Eric Adams just hired a police commissioner, first ever female police commissioner in New York City. And I'm not a big one, you know, the first Asian, first female, first black, whatever. I think that stuff is great. But I think too often is what we forget as this woman. I think it's huge, by the way. And he says, listen, I don't care about where you went to school. I don't care about your genders. What kind of person are you? And I loved that he said that. But too often we miss this. Her name, by the way, is Keechant Sewell. You know who hired her, though? It was a man. And we don't give the guys credit enough. You know, we talk about first female was hired for. Yeah, but who hired her? It was a dude. We got to be giving these men more credit. Right, Steph?
No.
Welcome into the show. Wake Up Columbia. Andy Humphrey, 1-for-1 holiday food drive, Commerce Bank. Out there at the mall, Andy, what is it we're looking for this morning? All right, Andy Humphrey, thank you. Hauswirth going to be out there later this afternoon.
10 to 2, and I'll be doing some live reports during that time, including on Travis Fitzwater, who's going to be filling in today for Gary Nolan. So I'll be talking to him, I believe, twice an hour.
Travis is here starting at 9 o'clock on 93.9, the Eagle. Something we can do for you, 874-9390. What's hot with Hannah? We do it every morning, 7:25-ish. Great question this morning. I'm anxious to see what people are saying.
So basically we're asking, what did you want to be when you grew up, when you were little? And we're kind of comparing, what you said you wanted to do to what you actually ended up doing.
Which is fascinating to think about.
Yeah, you kind of took a dark turn with it.
I did.
I kind of meant for it to be like a fun, lighthearted topic, and you kind of took it and ran.
I did. I went south on that one, man. I got morbid reflection, and that's not the point of this exercise here.
Do you remember what you wanted to be when you were little?
Major League Baseball player.
Good thing you got really close, right?
I was this close. I got my name in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch a couple times for being an all-star in the high school ball, but and then it was an attorney. I even went to a prep school called Center for Management Law and Public Policy because I wanted to be an attorney.
Now you have lots of friends who are attorneys.
I have lots of friends who are attorneys, but yeah, attorney really, and Major League Baseball player. What about you, Hannah?
So the earliest I remember, I was in like probably 3rd or 4th grade. I wanted to be a forensic scientist.
Can I guess why?
Because I used to watch CSI with my grandma, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
And then I grew up and found out I suck at science, so I kind of put a damper on the whole thing.
So, but when you look back on that, do you go like, man, you know?
No.
All right.
No.
Hauswirth, what did you want to? And I'm anxious to see what people are saying on the Wake Up Columbia Facebook page. What did you want to be when you grew up?
You want to go first, Steph, and then
Go ahead.
Okay. I had
men go first on this show, Brian. Okay. After all, we're the ones that give women the first jobs as police commissioners in New York City.
Give me a break.
I had a couple things that and I guess I evolved in my what I wanted to do. I remember being very little, wanting to be a garbage man at one time. Yeah,
really?
I wanted to ride on the back of one of the.
That is so cool.
I wanted to ride on one. Still, it's on my bucket list even today to ride on one of the back of one of those things. Probably not a good idea. I'm too old. Astronaut. I wanted to be an astronaut. Then I wanted to be a priest. As you know, and really came close to that. And then finally, journalism and sports broadcasting. So
the dichotomy there. I either want to be a garbage man or a priest. I love that.
That's really cool. I think I always kind of wanted to be a lawyer. It's weird for me, though, because both of my parents owned small businesses growing up. So I kind of lived that lifestyle of like tons and tons of work and tons of stress. And so I kind of told myself, like, I never want to do that. Right. And now I own my own law firm. Yeah. And so it was kind of like, I know I don't want to do that. And then here I am.
Doing exactly that. By the way, and I applaud anybody who become a small local business owner. Seriously, I say this all the time and say it. And if it's an attorney or you're selling products, man, kudos on you. I have a lot of admiration for you. So you are kind of doing what you always expected you wanted to do.
Yeah, I think I always wanted to be a lawyer. I would, I have, and I have had law partners, so I'm not doing it by myself, but also, like learning QuickBooks and bookkeeping, and I don't have a business major, right? So that's been a whole new experience, but I think, I don't think I'm too old yet to learn some new stuff, and so it's been kind of fun.
874-9390. 874-9390. Anything interesting on the Wake Up Columbia Facebook page? We kind of look at what the local folks are saying about this.
So I would say the number one answer is that people wanted to be a veterinarian, which I didn't. I mean, I know lots of kids that say they want to do that, but I didn't think that would be the number one answer.
Yeah, I liked this because Hannah mentioned watching the show with her grandma. Nikki says she wanted to be a farmer because her grandpa was a farmer and he was her hero, and she wanted to follow in his footsteps. I thought that was sweet. Now, John says he wanted to be a ninja, and he said, I think I made a great decision considering I haven't seen any ninja openings.
Good luck on that. You know what? And that's interesting, too, because part of why I wanted to be an attorney was because of my grandfather. He was in Jeff City. He went after tax cheats, went after... Joseph Tisdale? Who was the former governor back in the 70s?
Teasdale was governor.
Teasdale. Joseph went after him. Teasdale did not like my grandfather. And to watch my grandfather go and work harder and be even better at his job despite that Teasdale dude, I love that. Wanted to be just like my grandfather. 874-9390. Neil, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Well, I wanted to be a police officer and joined the Army, and 21 years later I retired and never got the police thing. And then about 15 years has gone by, and I still haven't grown up all the way. But thanks to you, Branden, I got my new job as a pro-pumping hydrojet tech.
Really? Oh, my gosh. No kidding.
It was your advertisement that, got me turned on to it.
Oh, dude, you are working I'm telling you, man, John Martin and his wife and his family, those are super, super people. Neil, I am so happy for you, bud. Thanks for being a part of the Wake Up Columbia family.
Yep, I start Monday.
Good work, man. Keep us posted. Let us know how it goes. 874-9390, 874-9390. But I sometimes I wonder, when I went to college, and this is something I know, like, I could totally see you doing something like this. When I was going to school at Southeast Missouri State, and I was living in this little dumpy apartment, I was working my off because I had this poster that I bought at Spencer's, and it's a
okay.
And it's a poster of like this really beautiful home on this rocky ledge on the ocean. And there's a walkway from this big, beautiful house down to this 5-car garage. It has Lamborghinis and Jeeps and all this stuff in there. And it said justification for higher education. And I would look at that every day when I was coming back from my classes at Southeast Missouri State, Cape Girardeau. I'd come in to my dumpy apartment, and I'd look up at that sign that said justification for higher education. That's why I want to do it. That's why I want to do it.
You know,
I drive a car. It's almost as old as Hannah now.
that is not the type of poster I would have guessed that you bought at Spencer's.
So kind of like visioning, and I will turn this into a positive thing, not only like thinking about maybe what you wanted to be and what you wanted, but I posted a tweet yesterday and I saw it and it really moved me. And it said, remember when you wanted everything you have now. And and my comment was, even some stuff I didn't know I wanted, right? And so I think, you know, in other ways, you know, there are a lot of things that I would have never even thought to want, right, that I have now. So interesting reflection.
Like 10 years ago, you say, Branden, what do you want 10 years from now? And I could have wrote down a bunch of crap. And if I were to compare that list to the things that I have today, and I'm not talking material things, because I have everything that I need. I even have a few of the things that I want. But if I were to make a list, look at a list 10 years ago, I'd be blown away. Like, I have way more than that in not material things.
Yeah.
Character and stuff like that. 874-9390. Butch, welcome into the show. What'd you want to be when you growed up?
Well, I want to be like you, a baseball player, and I didn't make it to the majors, but I made it to Double-A, and that picture I sent you, that was me and when I played down the Florida State League after spring training.
Oh, yeah.
And everything. And I just wanted...
Yeah, go ahead, Butch.
I just want to say to everybody there at the Zimmer Radio group, Merry Christmas and a very happy and healthy 2022.
Butch,
take care.
Merry Christmas to you, and know that we love you. And there are so many people. This Butch guy, I tell you, man, he does a lot of work with the Central Missouri Honor Flight. He's been in Vietnam, and one of the most humble guys I know. And I'll tell you something about Butch, and he wouldn't get mad for me telling you this. Butch has big ears. And he'll joke about it. Mm-hmm. I'm serious. I'm serious. Butch will get my back on this. But if anybody ever says anything about his ears, he says, my ears ain't big. He says, my face is just too small. That's the problem.
I like that.
So do you ever, and I guess, I don't know, but sometimes I reflect what I wanted to be. And it's not that I'm like, oh man, I'm bummed that I didn't become an attorney. I'm not bummed that I didn't become a baseball player. And I try not to get in that. But what if? Because it can be kind of morbid reflection, you know? But I think the stuff I have now, I mean, I have friendships. I was thinking about this a couple weeks ago. I'm flying home from Idaho.
Brandon's going to get all in his feels. Okay.
I better not.
Yes, you do. Go.
Come on, you're already there.
Right.
You're already there.
Okay. So a couple weeks ago, flying home from Idaho after Thanksgiving, taking the late flight home from Dallas at night, Dallas to Columbia, and it's just me, and it's dark, you know, and I've had this beautiful weekend with my grandkids. Harper and I shared some Twinkies. We played football. We made Christmas cards. We hiked the canyon and hung out with just everything. And I'm flying home, and I'm looking out the window, and I'm not kidding, but I'm just about in tears because I've had such an amazing time with my grandkids, and I live so far away. But this thought occurred to me. I thought, wouldn't that suck if I had a job that I had to go back to on Monday morning? That would suck. Thank God I don't have a job. I get to do this. I couldn't imagine what that would have been like. Hannah, should I take this here or wait a couple of minutes? All right. Coming up, Gary has some thoughts. And who was somebody said they wanted to be a ninja person? I love that.
An eye on the nation, an eagle eye on mid-Missouri. Wake Up Columbia with Branden Rathert. 93.9 The Eagle.
You're listening to Wake Up Columbia on 93.9 The Eagle with Branden Rathert, Brian Hauswirth, producer Handa, and my mom.
So does your daughter, she grow? We're talking about what did you want to be when you're growing up, and are you doing that now? I think all of us, Stephanie wanted to pretty much be an attorney. I wanted to be an attorney, didn't become an attorney. Hannah wanted to be CSI. Hauswirth wanted to be either a priest or a trash man. 874-9390, 874-9390. She want to be in radio.
I think it's probably going to be on their list. And I've told you this before. When I first started telling people, hey, yeah, I'm going to be on Wake Up Columbia, so many people were like, oh my gosh, I have always wanted to be on the radio. I mean, tons of people. It was great.
And I remember that time we were with Columbia Mayor Brian Treese, and he found out that you were going to be on Wake Up Columbia, and he was like, oh, you're going to work with this guy? Who, by the way, I got to give some kudos to Mayor Brian Treese. He is always, he's always good to the constituents of Columbia when I see him in action at the meetings and dealing with people. I know I've ridden him a little bit over the years because we disagree on things, and sometimes it can be antagonistic. But I got to give him some kudos there. So the question, what did you want to be when you were growing up, and does that match kind of with what you're doing today? 874-9390. Gary, what's up, buddy?
Oh, hi. How you doing?
Excellent.
For me, I was really influenced by TV, and showing my age, I wanted to start off being a cowboy. Mm-hmm. And then there was a lawyer, thanks to Perry Mason, and probably a veterinarian. I'm not sure where that came from. I wanted to race cars, which I actually did. I mean, pretty much when you're growing up, every year is a new I wanna be.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, sir, it does. I love that.
So, yeah.
Good.
A forest ranger was another one I tossed in.
Me too.
Said veterinarian. So.
Me too. And that was because of a show I used to watch on TV. I wanted to be a park ranger. Yogi Berra and Boo Boo.
No, not because of that.
But because of that show, I wanted to be a park ranger because of the cartoon Yogi Berra and Boo Boo.
Yeah,
but you were a ski instructor for a while. I mean, as a kid, you never would have said like, I want to be a ski instructor when I grow up. But what a cool thing to have said you've done.
And it's just like Gary, as you said, and I got to get going here to make way for the Gary Nolan show. But Gary's right. As I got older, I always thought, I want to be a ski bum. And I never thought I would do it. And I came to a place in life I was so situated that I could leave radio. I was fired. But I've embellished the story over there. I was so situated that I was able to take 3 years off from radio and become a ski guide and a zip line guide in the mountains of Idaho. And that's partially true, but the part I will usually conveniently leave out is because I was fired from the radio. But it worked out.
Yeah.
You know, it worked out. I got to be a ski guide. And every day, man, I'd get off that ski chair and I'd look over my shoulder, and I'm not kidding. I'd go like, you guys are paying me to do this? Are you sure?
Pretty cool.
Man, Gary Nolan show is coming up next. Check out the Mike Ferguson show this afternoon, 4 to 6, here on 93.9 The Eagle. We will see you back here tomorrow. And Stephanie and I will see you later at the 1-for-1 holiday food drive with Commerce Bank. See ya.
Bye.